I said, yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Amara. This is Amara's Logic. Got a new video for you today. Milwaukee Bucks trades, rumors, and news. Live edition. Before we get into it, you know the spiel. Comment, like, subscribe, and share this electrifying content with the people. Y'all see the how I look outside, so y'all already know where I'm at. I'm over in Europe for the next week or so, y'all. So that's kind of why I haven't been posting a lot of material. Been dealing with jet lag and all of that fly stuff. But hey, I had to wake up for this, right? With this whole Gary Trent Jr. Uh, foolishness, I told y'all what was going to happen. I told y'all there's no way you can pay a scrub $64 million and there's no blowback. This is insane. The thing is now, I thought that they were going to focus their attention on Kawhi Leonard since he was the bigger star and what he had going on into the Clippers. It seems like now the focus is shifted to us and little old Gary Trent Jr. This is going to be a problem, friends and family. I'm not sure about the all around impact of what's going to happen, but something definitely is going to happen with this Gary Trent Jr. Signing. I said it from the jump. You're going to give somebody that had the worst statistical season of their life, of their career, and you're giving them a record payday? Like, nothing about that made sense. Like, that was insane to me. I couldn't even believe something like that was even happening. And it's just throwing me off because it's like, damn, we're making progress. We got the summer league looking good as far. Nate Ament just had a good game recently. Brayden Burries is putting pressure on the entire guard side of the roster with how he's been performing in summer league. I just want to tap at him right back. We're gonna get back into Gary Trent Jr. But I want to commend friends and family and Bucks Nation. Y'all were adamant about Brayden Burries and his skill set and what he brings to the table. His poise, his basketball IQ. He can score on all three levels. His patience, everything that y'all were saying is absolutely valid about Brayden Burries. I'm not saying I thought y'all were jumping out the window when y'all like, oh, he could start. Now I see it. I'm not saying he should start. What I'm saying is I see what friends and family was saying now. So I want to give y'all credit because I was definitely hesitant on like, damn, why are y'all jumping out the window about this Brayden Burries dude? He ain't even picked up a basketball yet in the Bucks uniform. I apologize, friends and family. I wasn't aware of this man's true skill set. He's a problem. I'm gonna tell you right now, the emergence of Braden Burries in summer league, he looks like he shouldn't be in summer league. That's what I'm talking about. You watch Braden Burries, he looks like he shouldn't even be in summer league. He just looks like a veteran player already. So with that being said, it's about to be some shakeup in this with these guards. I'm telling you right now, first person I want to see gone is AJ Green if possible. AJ Green gotta be up out of there. That's the first person. I don't want to get into the other player, but I'm zeroing in on him because if you look at our guards, he's the person that has the least amount of talent respectfully. He does one thing and that's it. He can shoot threes. He can't dribble. He can't really defend. He can't jump. What value is he really bringing just being a three-point shooter when you don't have Giannis here? I think the Bucks need to focus on moving AJ Green as soon as possible to make sure that we don't make the mistake that we've made in the past and not allowing our young players to develop. I really think Braden Burries now just looking at what I'm seeing right now, it's going to be interesting to see how he fits into this lineup, but he has to be getting 20, 25 minutes a game. I don't know if it's going to be him and Rollins come off the bench or him and KPJ, however Taylor Jenkins makes it shape. And now to me, let's get to the Tyler Hero thing. With how Brayden Burries is emerging and just showing like he's like an NBA veteran already, would this make you guys consider trading Tyler Hero now? Or do y'all still want to keep Tyler Hero that has no effect on your decision making? Brayden Burries is just an accessory to what we got going on, and we should kind of keep that big four, I would say. And what I'm saying, the big four at guards would be Rollins, KPJ, Hero to me, and Braden Burries. I'm already putting him in our. He's one of our top four guards. Period. I've already seen enough. I don't need to see anymore. But I also want friends and family to apologize about y'all calling Nate Ament trash. He's not trash. He got game. You saw it. What we were expecting is what you saw the last summer league game, showing he can shoot from three, inside game, rebounding, pull ups. He has a skill set. Did he shoot poorly from 2 point percentage? Yes, that's in college. We're in the NBA. And I think with his size, athleticism, under the tutelage of Taylor Jenkins, I think he can be something. I just don't know why y'all are so down on Nate Ament. Without giving him enough, having a large enough sample size to see what he really can do. But I hope that this last game showed y'all that he does have game, and he showed you why he was a borderline lottery pick with his skill set. So I'd be interested to see what friends and family and Bucks Nation got to say about that. And salute to friends and family and Bucks Nation. Appreciate y'all tapping in. I know this time is random for a live, but it's just because it's like 11 o'clock at night over here. So, it just is what it is. I ain't tripping. Let's get it in. But this Gary Trent thing is really wild to me. I just don't have a good feeling about it. And I would like to say if anything goes left with this Gary Trent and we get any type of sanctions, that John Horst should be fired that day. If we suffer any consequences for this foolishness of you giving somebody that much money that doesn't even average 10 points a game, that's still crazy to me. But this investigation to me should be leading to him being fired. Do you guys think just due to the investigation, he should be fired as far as John Horst, or should he be fired if we get some type of sanctions, like they take away some draft picks or do something like that? He should be fired then, or do y'all think he should be fired now? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. But this is a real problem. This Gary Trent thing is going to be over a dark cloud over the Bucks' head until we get this figured out. I knew as soon as they did that was stupid. I don't care. I understand we had a handshake deal and all of that, right? I get that. I get that. And he took a cheaper deal for 2 years. But are you sitting here telling me that other teams were offering Gary Trent Jr., even before that, when he could have been a free agent these last 2 years, someone was going to give him 4 years, 64 million? Who was going to do that? Who was going to give him that much money? I don't care if he was fresh off of Toronto. Who was giving him 4 years, 64 million? What handshake deal approved that? That's a ton of money for somebody that's borderline trash. Like, to me, I'm not trying to disrespect you, Gary Trent, but in reality, how much better are you better than AJ Green? Like, being real, are you better than AJ Green? Really? Like, this is crazy. This is super crazy. What up, Bleacher? Let me get the Bleacher super chat. I just need some answers. Shout out to Bleacher. Appreciate the 199 super chat. Fire this fool now. It's not a good look at all. I agree. That's why I'm asking. Am I getting too like emotional with the situation, saying that he should be fired now? Because from my point of view, he should be fired now. Like, I'm being real. You can't allow that to happen to your team. You can't have those type of eyes on your team, especially with everything that just happened with Giannis and him telling y'all wouldn't want to play so you could tank. Now you got this. We got to get Horst out of here. You're not a good look for this team. And to be honest, it would look better in the NBA's eyes, I think, if they let him go. And I'm just being real. I think if we were to let him go, it might soften or completely remove any sanctions, because it's looking like the Bucks are trying to rectify the situation themselves. If I was the Bucks, I would just can do. I would just can do. I'm just keeping it real. I would just get Horse out of here. It's too many mistakes, bro. Too many mistakes. I'm not saying it's your fault, but it is your fault because you gave the okay on a lot of this. You don't want to offer the 4 year 64 million, and you a mark for letting somebody like extort you to pay somebody an exorbitant fee. You didn't even fight back and be like, you know what? He's on AJ Green level. We can be cool. Let's do 4 years, 47 million or something like that. I would have been cool with that. Like, okay, you gave us a deal, so we're gonna give you a little pay. There's no way that you should be getting like a Bobby Portis type of money. You get what I'm saying? You shouldn't be getting Bobby Portis money. You're not even averaging double figures. You're not helping the team at all. You've been almost useless for 2 years. Besides that Indiana run that Mr. Cool talk about, but if we take that Indiana run out of there, what has he really done? What is the benefit of Gary Trent? He act like he was doing us a favor signing this deal, and he still ain't said nothing. If I was, I try to move him too. Like this is just, I'm just frustrated. We got so much positives going on with this team. We got a new coach. We got draft picks. We actually drafted some players that might actually be able to stay on this roster. And then you go and do this goofy backdoor move of signing Gary Trent Jr. for 64 million, and none of it's deserved. There's nothing. I want somebody. Let me put the link in the chat because somebody's gonna have to explain to me where this how 64 million makes sense for Gary Trent Jr. I need to understand how it makes sense. Y'all told me that he did a handshake deal and he gave us a deal 2 years in a row. Okay, so that's 5 million or something. He did his little option, right? So why couldn't we just double that? Like, okay, you gave us a deal too, so we're gonna double your pay. So instead of five some, you get like 11 or 12 million. You know what I'm saying? So I would have even been cool with 4 years, 48 million. I could have at least understood that. 64? How? We're getting investigated. We got KPJ on this team that probably deserved that contract. To keep it real, KPJ deserved that contract. my boy, my boy Dre West in the chat. What up, Dre? It's it's unexplainable. And now with the pressure on, and you know what else we got to do, y'all? We might need to start apologizing to Shams because it seems like a lot of things that we thought Shams was lying about has come to the light and been true. So I'm starting to pay a little bit more attention to what Shams is saying and what he's putting out there because all the stuff we try to debunk or some of y'all try to debunk ended up being true. So I'm very nervous about this Buck situation, especially if picks could be impacted. Like you had so much positive momentum and, and you throwing it all away because you let Clutch Sports and Adele husband put pressure on y'all. How do you let another grown man put pressure on you without a strap? How is another man putting pressure on you without a strap? That's crazy. Let me tap in Dr. Smith. I know he got a lot to say about this as well because this is crazy. We about to get in trouble. Hold on 1 second. Let me tap you in, Dr. Smith. Give me a second. Let me get my business together here. 1 second. Hold on 1 second. All right, there we go. Hey, what up? What up?
Peace,
What up, Dr.
peace,
Smith?
peace.
Speed.
What's good?
Ah, man, we in trouble, man. I don't like what I'm seeing about this whole Gary Trent Jr. thing. I think it's a dark cloud over this organization now. And with the reports coming out, it seems like everything is shifted from Kawhi Leonard and what was going on with the Clippers to now everybody is just laser focused
Like,
on the Bucks and yeah, with the Gary because it's so outrageous. The money was so outrageous that I think it makes sense for the attention to be there. Like,
yeah. Well, what's up, chat? What's
what,
going on? I was actually got an opportunity to work a little bit from home, and I was just about to step out, and I saw that you was on live real quick. I was
appreciate
like,
you.
this, yeah, this is
Yeah,
right. This is a different time. This is a different time.
yeah, because yeah,
Um,
it's 11 p.m. where I'm at, Doctor Smith. That's why.
for sure,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. At undisclosed location, I know all about
Oh
that.
no, I'm in Europe. I'm in Europe, bro. But I'm not, you know.
Uh, feel you.
Yeah,
I
well,
feel you. Um. So yeah. Let me ask this, because what is new? Has something new come out since we knew that there was potentially an
well,
investigation
now
that
it's
was going to go?
official that it's an investigation. That's what happened today. It's official an investigation. Before we were saying it could be an investigation. Now it's officially an investigation, which
You're
means
officially
it could be problems where we could lose picks, player. I don't know, depending on what happens with the investigation. My thing, and I was saying before you hopped on here, Dr. Smith, appreciate the 4.99 super chat, was that with this happening, I think you almost have to let John Horst go because of all of this commotion now. I just don't I don't see how he stays. We already had the situation with Giannis and him not being able to play and all that other stuff that was going on the team. And then now you have this. How does Horst survive this situation? I don't see it.
I mean, if it were my choice, he wouldn't, you know. And I think I had a couple of days to kind of sit on it. When I
Hmm.
first saw that the deal went down, which is something I got to stop doing,
Appreciate
right? I come on,
appreciate it.
I'm all in my punch you in the face energy or whatever, so it doesn't come out as articulate as I would like it to be, right? Since then, I've had an opportunity to think about it a little bit more.
Mm,
And yeah, no, if I were the owner, you of course would have to be fired. The problem with Horace is that the desperation that he kept showing put us way further back than we would have
hmm.
been had we just made sensible decisions. It was too much power in his hand, right?
Correct.
The the having someone who is a perennial MVP candidate, right,
Hmm.
which a lot of teams can't brag on, right? We had one, and then it was just like his brain got scrambled over the years, right? Everything was not his fault, right? Chris
Right.
Middleton having the injuries that he did was unfortunate. It's not his fault, right? Brooke Lopez, you probably could have saw that coming before it happened, and nothing traumatic happened to Brooke
Hmm.
Lopez. It was just that he was old, right? You know what I
Right.
mean, and not properly grooming the next person. Some of the the configuration you can certainly say is entirely on
Hmm.
him, but like we sat there, we all of us, right? Since I became
Hmm.
like a part of the community, I came
Right.
like right, I want to say right before we won the championship, and then
Hmm.
like we sat there and we watched every year us get gradually worse, right? For
Worse.
one reason or another. And it was one, it's not just this decision that would have me moving on from John Horst. It was making a bad decision and then chasing that with a worse decision, which puts us in a bigger hole. Which and it's just we kept trying to dig ourselves out of this hole, but it was like he was digging himself in a way that
Mhm.
was bringing more mud into the hole, right? You know
Oh,
what I
right.
mean? Like so, and I've said this before, right? If we're doing an autopsy on how we've gotten to this place, I know that some of my opinions are not popular, but I got to be
Hmm.
true to myself, right? I don't believe in the very beginning. The first decision for me was immediately firing Bud. It
Hmm.
was impulsive and hand up. I was one of the guys who was saying, "Oh man, Bud couldn't figure it out. He's
Right.
sitting there and he's watching Jimmy Butler cook Drew. He's not making any uh, 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 changes or
Adjustments.
whatever. He's
Hmm.
not able to adjust. He's not able to figure this out. We all see this happening. Blah blah blah. Fire him in the moment, emotional, right? So while I understand what John Horst was feeling in a general manager
Hmm.
position, you have to be able to, in my opinion, make less impulsive, more logical decisions, right? I don't know that he had someone else in mind. I don't know if in his mind he was like, look, Bud is on his last legs, and if he doesn't get through this series, I'm done with him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't
Right.
know if it was a lead up to that moment or whether it was just kind of uh, in the spur of the moment. And I get the feeling, right? We were the number one seed that year.
Hmm.
We just got knocked out by a team that had to fight their way through the play in. And then we didn't even look like we should have been on the same court. So I get the feeling. But then you fired him, you
Hmm.
go and you get AJ Griffin,
Right.
right? I have to think that if you hire AJ Griffin, there's a conversation that's had about what with AJ Griffin about what his plans are. AJ Griffin was hired to be a better defensive mind than what we
Hmm.
saw from Coach Bud. We're going to switch. We're going to do all those things that we had talked about on this live.
Right.
This is what AJ Griffin was brought in to do, right? These are the kind of defenses that he was running. And I have to think that you took an honest assessment of your roster at the time and you said, all right, well, I get your plan, but we don't have the players currently to
To
do that.
execute.
So we'll give you an opportunity to for these players to show that they can adjust to this new system. And if they can't, those who can't will begin the process of moving on from, and those who can will start building around that team. And then we will systematically through the draft and through free agency start building or bringing people in that
Hmm.
will uh, 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 help you realize your vision. And that's not what happened. You know what I mean? Like they brought him in to execute this plan, and then they didn't give him the runway to execute the plan. So
Zero.
it was like a trial. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
And what is the point of even doing that? You knew what he was going to do, and these guys who came in with the guys who were here were like, well, I don't want to do that. To me, if you're hiring a coach, you are stating that this is the culture and this is the plan that we want to execute, and you, the players, can either do this or execute this plan, or we have to go and find players who can. But we can't
Can,
just
right.
hire a coach for 10 minutes and if it doesn't work, we'll see you later. That didn't make any sense at all. Now, I will say that if Adrian Griffin did something dramatically
Hmm.
against organizational policy as far as how he was talking or dealing with people and what, that's one thing. Like if he fired himself in some kind of an action. But if
Right.
if if in your mind that was a basketball decision, you didn't even give him an entire season for that basketball decision to be made. Meanwhile, you trade Drew Holiday away. This is where I lose a lot of people. That was a mistake. I said
Hmm.
it at the time that was a mistake.
Hmm.
Our identity was defense.
Fence.
Was Drew
Correct.
Holiday a perfect player? No, he wasn't a perfect player. And yes, there were times when he's turned the ball over, but I know that there were people who would complain about Drew Holiday turnovers back then.
Hmm.
Can I introduce you to Ryan Rollins? And were Drew Holiday's turnovers that bad? Really? You know what I mean? People would
Yeah.
we were complaining about things that weren't major problems, but these were the things that were being said about Drew Holiday, right? You get this Damian Lillard saga going on in Portland. I want out of Portland. I only want to go to Miami. Portland's not
Hmm.
feeling that. Portland feels pressured in, and they're not making that move, and justifiably because they don't want to feel like they're boxed in. So they straight
Right.
up told Dame, "Look, I'm not. You're not going to Miami. You're not going to bully us into that. So figure out another location, and if we get a good deal from them, so be it." Well, I think I might be happy in Miami, in Milwaukee. Let me go
Milwaukee.
play with
Right.
Giannis, and just like that they make the call. John Horst takes maybe a half a second to think about it. Well, what do you want for Damian Lillard? We want your defense out on the perimeter. We want the
Hmm.
best perimeter defender that you have. You have 2 minutes to think about this. Yep, no thinking about it at all. Off you go, Drew. Drew, meanwhile, had already enrolled his children into school. He doesn't know any of this is about to happen. There were no conversations said about him because a lot of this was like thief in the night type stuff. We had
Right.
to make sure that but you see the desperation that goes into that. There was no thought
Hmm.
to it whatsoever. When we won that championship against Phoenix, it was because we had defenders like Drew Holiday, we had defenders like PJ Tucker, we had defenders like Chris Middleton, who
Middleton.
in that
Right.
group was the worst defender, and he was still a very good defender. You had Brook, who
Agreed.
was playing at the best that he'd ever played defensively, and you had Giannis as an offside defender. Yes, we had outstanding offense, but the identity of that team was defense. Do you remember how we used to just run teams off the court routinely by 30, the same way that we're getting run off the court last year? That's what we used to do to teams. We used to treat teams. And a lot of it was because they can't score on us,
Right.
right?
Right.
You go out and you move on
But
from Drew
also to
Holiday.
add, that was a younger Brook and Giannis where they controlled the paint as well. Giannis
It
at
all
that
fit.
time, yeah, it all fit. Yeah, Giannis and Brooks were able to defend the paint, and then you had kind of like Middleton roaming, and then you just had the head of the snake, which was Drew Holiday. That's why it all worked the way it did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And we've never got
yeah.
back
But
to anything like that. We all did all everything we did was a band aid or quick fix, just so we don't lose Giannis. And I'm not blaming this
and
on Giannis because it is up to Horst to make the decision. It's not Giannis's fault to make what decisions were made. But Horst, like you said, he was making knee jerk reactions versus really taking time to process what if I make this move, what is the long term effect of me giving
right.
away five second round picks for Crowder, for me giving up Drew Holiday for Damian. What is the side effect? It's like he never thinks of the blowback. What happens after the bomb detonates? He never thinks about that. You know what I'm saying? What
It,
casualties happen after the
very
bomb detonates?
it's like an addictive behavior because you're only thinking about the next fix. You're only thinking about the next fix. So
Facts
let
for
me
real.
hurry up and do something in the moment that fixes something in the moment, and I don't think about the long term effects. I thought that the Drew Holiday move was not the right move. Do I think that
Mhm.
Damian Lillard is a better offensive player than Drew? There's no
Yes,
debating that, right?
yeah,
No question, right? But I will make an argument that Drew Holiday is a better all around player. Drew Holiday is not
100%.
a nothing on offense. He's
No,
not on a scale of 1 to 10. I would say he's above average. It's just that
yeah,
Damian is one of the best we've ever seen. However, on the opposite end,
he'll get you
Damian is a
kills.
zero on defense.
Hmm.
Zero. So as good as he is on offense, that's how poor he is on defense. Whereas Drew Holiday was more balanced, and
Balanced,
that's
yeah.
the identity to your team. Every good player doesn't necessarily
And the
take
other
on
thing we don't
your
mention
move.
enough is just Drew's size. Drew is taller, stocky.
And bigger,
Bigger. He just gave you more physically. He was
solid.
able to impose his will, and he was bigger to the point where he would post up other point guards. That made things easier as well. Remember when Giannis would be out,
Right.
he could go into the post and kick out still. So we lost a lot of attributes in that trade.
I saw Drew one time. I can't remember whether it was Milwaukee or whether by this point he was already in Boston. But I mean, it wasn't all game. But he was able to switch out on Joel Embiid. That's your point guard who was able to switch out on one of the stronger
Hmm.
centers in the league. But see, this is what I mean by John Horst, right? Because he's I'm going to build this up to show the
Hmm.
momentum of why I would fire him. Because this is exactly
He
how I
said to
would
build the
explain it,
momentum.
right? It's not just that you went out and you got Drew Holiday, right? If you had stopped there, we might have been able to survive that. But you go out and you get Drew Holiday, and excuse me, you swap out Drew Holiday with Damian Lillard, who's already a minus on defense, and then you partner him up with Malik Beasley, right? So you swap out a smaller problem and create a much bigger problem, right? We might have needed more half court offense. I get it. Chris Middleton and Giannis, fantastic in the half court, but Chris Middleton with his injuries, what happens when Chris Middleton is not available? Now we're missing something half court. But was that a bigger problem than the one that you created when you go out and you get Damian Lillard and you put him next to Malik Beasley? Then when you
Hmm.
bring in a defensive coach who wants to play implement switching defenses, and then our guys don't want to do that, you go right back to drop zone defense, and you have the Lincoln Tunnel that the perimeter offensive players can run through to challenge Brook, who won't come out of the paint. So do you see how like a small problem became an enormous problem? Let's keep going. You now need, because you created this problem, perimeter defense. I know I'm desperate. Let me go and call Phoenix, who has a player, Jay Crowder, that they don't even want. If you remember, Phoenix had told Jay Crowder, "Don't show up to the team facility, stay at home." For this play, that's how they valued the player until John Horst came calling, and then it was like, "Oh well, we want 5 seconds for Jay Crowder." You mean the player that you don't even want? You want us to give up 5 seconds? Yeah, we'll do that. What are you doing, John Horst? What are you doing? What are you doing? Someone pull this man away from the slot machine. What are you doing? You just keep putting
Yo,
the money.
that was
Stop it,
hilarious.
bro.
For that
Like,
slot machine.
because he keeps going. He keeps going. He keeps going. And you want to keep fixing this problem? You got all right. So Damian Lillard, you can't control like his injury history
Uh,
and the torn Achilles. That's not your fault.
hmm.
You go out and you get Miles Turner. You put him on this team. You have visions of what that team would look like. I get it. Damian Lillard being injured. That's not your fault. But then you sign and stretch Miles Turner, which means that all this money that you're gonna or sign and stretch
Sure, Dame.
Damian Lillard to be able to
Hmm.
get Miles Turner. Now, when it's obviously time to rebuild, this is money that you don't have. Still at the slot machine, like someone go and get your uncle because he's mortgaging our future away. He can't stop himself. And so we get to this point now where you have Gary Trent Jr. You have this version of the Bucks last year where you
Hmm.
the only complete player that you had on the roster was Giannis. And maybe you can make an art. Well, not that's not true. I
KPJ.
like KPJ and Ryan Rollins can give you
Mm.
both, but three players that you can count on. Miles Turner was supposed to be that had the most disappointing year that he's had as a professional. And then you have a bunch of field goal kickers, specialists, guys who could do one thing. AJ Green, I heard what you said about AJ Green. I couldn't agree more.
Mhm.
But you know who was worse than AJ Green as far as being one dimensional? The person you just paid $64 million. He can't defend anything either. He can't, he's got no athleticism. He can't touch the rim. He can't dribble. The only way that he's going to play defense is by massively fouling. He justifies his position on the team by being able to hit threes. What was his 3 point percentage last year? What was he
30
able to
something.
do last year? But
He was the
because
black
John Horst
AJ
is still
Green.
at that slot machine, I can't stop myself. I can't stop. Here's what I'll do, Gary Trent. I know that we can't pay you now because of all the decisions that I made before, but I promise you that we're going to pay you in the future, and we're going to pay you this exorbitant money that no one in their right mind is going to pay you to be able to keep you, even though this is a sinking ship, to be able to keep Giannis happy because he's got an outlet pass, and Doc Rivers has convinced me that this is the best version of this team, even though these guys can't do
Hmm.
anything else but shoot threes. So if Giannis gets injured, and oh, by the way, that's
He
happened a
did.
lot here lately because he can't stop himself from playing in Euro leagues. So when he comes to
This is
Milwaukee,
classic.
he's already broken down. He's going to play for maybe 10 games. He's going to leave us with a whole bunch of players who have no complete game. And that is a recipe for the Milwaukee Bucks that we saw last year. And when we finally think that we have moved on from some of these things that we had to witness, John Horst raises his hand. He was like, guys, about that. See, I know that you thought that I was done with making some of these bad decisions, but I do have to report there's one more thing coming down the line that you might see. Well, what did you do, John? What did you do, John? What did you do? Did you what did you sell the car? What did you do? Like do we even have a place to live anymore? Did you sell the house? What did you do? And he was like, well, see, Gary Trent and his people, they said that they were going to walk if we didn't promise them. How much money did you promise them? Was it 10 mil over 2 years? Was it 20 million over 3 years? It was 64 over 4. He is the third highest paid or the fourth highest paid player on the
Correct on the
team
Bucks. Correct.
when he got benched in favor of someone who might not even make the team right now, right? Who's the brother that we had from New York last year? He came on at the very end. I'm forgetting his name just because I'm blanking right now.
I'm trying
He's
to think
probably,
who
I don't know if he's gonna make the team this year. The guard,
you're
uh,
not talking about AJ Green. You're not talking
B,
about
B
Mark Sears.
no, B Shaq would always pick him up. The guard, he's
Y'all help us in the chat. Y'all hold on one second. Let me see what the chat
uh
talking about.
oh shoot. And we
You was
thought
you
that he
not
was gonna play good. We thought he was gonna play well in the summer leagues, and he's been kind of okay. Not Cam Thomas. He's been
if
on
you're
the
not
team
talking about
for
oh you call Cass or are you talking about Cormac Ryan?
Cormac Ryan. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cormac Ryan was getting minutes over him.
Mm-hmm.
And Cormac Ryan might not even make this team now because he hasn't really performed all that well in the summer league. Yet, you pay him $64 million. This is the problem. So if I'm talking to John Horst, I'm like, do you understand? Like, for all of these reasons, we have to let you go. All of this stuff that we're dealing with right now is a direct result of your lack of impulse control. Every team goes through their ebbs and flows. But when we started to go through an ebb, rather than react in a sensible way that GMs react, you kept trying to hold on to that
Mm-hmm.
high, that championship. First time in 50 years, Giannis holding up the trophy, right? The Deer District. No, you kept trying so hard trying to chase that first high. That
I got to
first
show you
hit.
this stat. One second. I just want you to see what. Shout out to Brian. Yet we spent 105 million for AJ Green and Gary Trent over 4 years. Sounds crazy. That sounds crazy, and that's actually
Do you see
truth.
what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? I'm making this argument without actual stats and figures in front of me. I just remember what I remember when they happen, like these events when they happen. But absolutely, if you wanted to start bringing stats into it and bringing up like field goal percentage and plus minus when Gary Trent was on the court and opposing teams defense of field goal percentage allowed, if I like really wanted to get scientific on how bad Gary Trent was last year. One of the things that I hate about professional sports is that some players, it seems like they only get good in their contract years. Remember Nick Perry for the
Mm-hmm.
Packers?
Yep.
Only year that he was really worth anything in the league was his contract year. And he went out and he
Yep.
balled.
We
As soon as
call
he
that
got
the
his
Tim
money, he went
Thomas
to
around
Apron.
here. We call that the Tim Thomas around here because Tim Thomas was
There you
famous
go.
for. Tim Thomas was famous for
There you
that.
go. There you go. Your filet mignon in your contract year, and then as soon as you get that money, you like a McDonald's 2 for $10 cheeseburger. Like you just straight whack. Like he's terrible. He was
All
terrible.
right.
And to me, I'm wondering now that if you're Gary Trent, that year that you didn't get paid, that was supposed to be your contract year, was it not? Right? And then when John Horst said, "I can't pay you, but I'll pay you down the line,"
Mm-hmm.
it's left me to wonder, were you balling like that to get that contract? But as soon as you knew that you had the money, maybe not right then and there, but it was handshake money, you know that John Horst can't go back on it. Otherwise, his reputation is even more mud than it is now.
He got finessed.
So, what is my incentive to go out and actually play big time basketball? I'm not saying that you intentionally turn yourself into trash on the court, right?
Oh,
No
here
one
we
does
go.
that. What I am
Check
saying
this
is
out.
that,
Check this out, Dr. Smith. Hold on one second. Not this one. Hold on one second. This is a good point. Let me find this again. Okay, here we go. Robert Brooks. Shout out Robert Brooks. Rich Paul threatened Horst with Burries. This is why it took so long for him to sign. Because Burries is Burries agent also is
yeah,
Clutch Sports.
he plays for
I
Clutch. He plays for Clutch, like he boxed you in. But see, the thing is that long before you had Burries, you had that conversation. And rather than say, uh, no, the ship is going down and we need to move in the future, right? What
mhm.
GMs are supposed to be doing, you would think that like they're forecasting their plans out beyond the here and now. In the future, this is not going to work, right? Even if we manage somehow to keep Giannis, this is not going to work. So we can't. $64 million? What are you crazy? Absolutely not. But rather than do that, at the slot machines, I can't stop myself. Someone pulled me away from the poker table. I can't stop myself. So he just went ahead and did it. Giannis wants his brothers to play on the team. He just went ahead and he did it. This man can't make a basketball team anywhere else. We know because he tried to get on the Lakers team that wasn't
Right.
very good, and they cut him. He can't get on an actual team, but
Team.
it's going to make Giannis happy. So we're just going to, someone pull me away from the table. I cannot stop myself from making like these impulsive decisions. And we finally get to a place where in his lucid moments, when he's not high, when he's not chasing that high, John
Hmm.
Horst actually makes some halfway decent decisions. The
Agreed.
decision that he made to move on from Torian Prince and Gary Harris in order to get picks and a player that you can then either move on from, that was actually a lucid, cogent move. But he's going to remind you, unfortunately, that when I start getting that feeling and I start getting that high, I can't move away from the table. I don't think this investigation will go anywhere unless Turner testifies. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've heard other people explain what can happen if they actually go to an investigation. Right? You can investigate. You know what it looks like, but you need hard evidence to prove it. Right?
I think
So
we
is
got
there
Gary Trent
any?
in the chat. Hold on one second. I think we got Gary Trent in the chat. Gary is an actual good player. You don't know ball or watching. That's the problem. I have been watching him, sir. That's the thing.
I'm not. I respect everyone's opinion.
That's
Joyful, thank
crazy.
you for joining the chat. Joyful, thank you for your contribution, brother. We sat here and we watched them all year last year. I wish that you were right. I wish that I was wrong. I wish. You know how many times I had to be told, "Can you please keep it down? You too old to be screaming at this TV for this. Like, can you please? We got to get up and." You know how many times I got checked because I'm yelling at the TV for what Gary Trent wasn't doing? I wish you were right, brother. I wish that you were right. You were so very wrong. We sat here and we watched it. Don't take my word for it. Go back and watch before the season starts. You can. You can go back and watch each and every game, and you can tell me what Gary Trent was contributing on either end. I'll wait. I'll be right here when you get back. He was terrible last year, brother. The year before that, he
He
was
was
decent, which
decent.
leads me to my point. I feel like if there's no written evidence that you already pre-made a deal, then I don't know what you can charge him
Dude.
with, because
Mm-hmm.
your counter argument can always be, look, the year before that, Gary Trent was a good player for us.
Mm-hmm.
He was one of the best players that we had in the playoffs. He was the one that was sitting there fighting for us in that Pacer year. We just think that he had a bad year. We think that he had some things going on off the court, and we
Mm-hmm.
think it's worth it to bring him back to give him another shot to redeem himself, right? We value what he can give to the room as a vet, being that outside of him, if we decide to move on from all of the holdover players, right, people like
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Kuzma and whatnot, then the room is very young at that point. So
True.
I, so we value his voice. We can't keep everybody, so a lot of these holdovers are going to go, and then we just made an assessment that of all of the holdovers, we think that he gives us the most, right? Because based on not on what he did last year, but what he did the year before that. And if you make that argument, it makes it difficult to prove that there was any actual illegal, like making a deal, salary cap circumvention. They'll look at us like we're stupid,
Mm-hmm.
because we are, right? This is why you don't do the salary cap circumvention thing. This is why you don't promise people money ahead of time, because if they turn around and have like the worst season ever or whatever, now you look crazy for giving this person all of that money. That's resources that could be used to actually execute the plan that you claim that you want to execute, right? Getting younger players in, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's if you're going to try and sell the fiction that you actually value him, then at some point he's going to have to get minutes on the floor. Well, who's he supposed to get minutes over?
Over, right.
Kasparis, Brayden Burries, KPJ, Ryan Rollins? Is he supposed to get time over? Is he supposed to take any time away from those dudes? If we claim that we're moving forward with the youth movement, then who
Mm-hmm.
is he supposed to be getting time for?
That's what makes it
I heard,
crazy.
of course, because it's bull. I'm not gonna curse in this
Right,
pod, but we
right.
know we know it's garbage. It's just that you can't prove it, right? So this is, how well does this dude know how to circumvent and get around the law, right? You know what I mean? How sharp is his street game? Like, do
Mm-hmm.
you have anything written down, John Horst? Is there any email evidence that they could point to where you can provide, or evidence can be provided
Mm-hmm.
that you were engaging in salary cap circumvention? Because if that exists, then you just fired yourself, right? You know what I mean?
Right,
But
right, right.
if that doesn't exist, then you just look stupid. I don't know if they can prove anything, but you just look stupid.
Right. I don't think they can
You
either, but
know?
to me, just for being threat, I think they need to get rid of John. I'm just so tired. He's so frustrating. How can you do two or three bad things and do something that just blows away something so stupid that it blows away all of your good progress? Like it just doesn't make sense. The money we have 105 million and two players that are average over 40 that
If
are
that,
just average at
you're
that
being,
just average.
they're not even. So I mean, we've been
Oh,
watching the
you
summer
know what?
league,
Somebody
and
just mentioned. You didn't even. Did you mention Tyler Hero in the with all those guards?
I didn't. I'm sorry. Yeah. So again, Tyler Hero, Brayden Burries, Ryan Rollins, KPJ, Kasparis
A
Yakachonis. That's your
AJ
guard
Green.
group.
AJ Green.
I'm not even counting AJ Green, because I mean, like, come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, AJ Green got to be thinking, if anybody was going to be like given a crazy deal, like I was the one that was still, like, AJ
Right.
Green was still up until when, like, you know what I mean? Like, he was still getting like starter minutes. They didn't even do
Right.
that with Gary Jr. Like, he just completely got phased out because of how bad that he was playing. So for me, here's the thing: is that if this decision, if it was what it was, what we all think it was, happened before
Hmm.
all of these good decisions that we see, right? The decision to move on from Torian Prince, that happened after this stupid decision that he made with Gary Trent back then.
Salute.
So he was still like making desperate decisions back then. He was still of that mindset. And you did all of that to keep Giannis, who wanted to go anyway. At the end of the day, he
Hmm.
still wanted to go. So was it worth it? Was it worth your respect that the people looking the league around the league are looking at you like a complete idiot? That you at least brought the Bucks into an investigation, whether they prove it or not. To me, is irrelevant. The fact that you even have the spotlight on us, because it
Hmm.
is illegal to do what, per the rules, it's illegal to
Allegedly,
handle
right?
business right the way that he allegedly did it. I don't care how many other teams did it. If the penalty for this is draft picks, that's the one thing we don't have. So you speeding with two keys in the car, you're gonna go right by the cops. I don't care if eight other people had keys in the car. They're pulling you over. You stupid jackass. Like, I mean, like, so bro, like we don't have
To
these
have
things
the
to
draft
lose.
picks.
Right? We're sitting here trying to rob Peter to pay Paul, and you sitting there doing all these acrobatics, and it's actually working, right? Because you got two picks, like his deal that he got for Giannis in Miami.
Hmm.
Taking that deal instead of taking the deal in Boston was
Right.
definition that there is a good GM in there
Yeah.
somewhere, right? You moving on from Torian Prince and Gary Harris and getting two picks in return. There's a good GM in there somewhere, but he just starts getting high and sitting at that table, and then he turns into Bubbles from the Wire, and then all of that goes right out the window, bro. Like Bubbles, when he wasn't high, was
I
actually one of
agree.
the smarter dudes on the show. Like, you know what I mean? But the minute that he starts getting all of that goes out the way. Oh, Giannis, we can keep him. And it doesn't matter how you're mutilating the team to do that. No one came and pulled this dude out of the room and asked him, what are you doing? Is he the only one who makes those decisions? Does he have like a council of people that he talks to? Was there like a second like was there anyone tapping him on the shoulder and like, whoa, 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 what are you doing to our salary cap for the future? Do we have a draft pick in the next 30 years behind some of these decisions that you're making? Like, stop, bro. Like, what are you doing? Did anyone stop him at any point? Because if he
No.
didn't, it's not just that you got an addict at the wheel, it's that no one is stopping him, right? So that's organizational. You feel me? That's
Malpractice.
with everybody at this
It's
point.
malpractice. It's definitely
I mean,
malpractice.
he's
Hey,
sharp. You know he's sharp because you got Kasparis, you got Tyler Hero. That you have options with Tyler Hero. You don't even have to necessarily keep Tyler Hero. You could
hmm,
flip him for
for
even
more
more of what you
more
didn't
pick.
have. So in 1 year, all of the screw ups, the five picks for Jay Crowder, the lack of money because you signed in 1 year, you can turn almost all of that around. That means that there's a genius in there somewhere. Because
Right.
I didn't see you being able to do it, but you start getting high, and then all of it. So the only
Like
thing
Pookie.
that I can think,
Like Pookie from New Jack City. Like Pookie.
you you feel me? You put him back in right around what he can't handle, and then it instantly all out
Gold
the
slug.
window. So the only thing that I could say is that this decision is not a new decision. His newer decisions are actually better decisions.
Hmm.
This decision is back when he was still getting high.
Right,
You
correct.
feel me? Right. And so this goes back to them, but we have to pay for it now. Regardless, I don't know what Gary Trent thinks he's going to do this year. I don't know if you know Gary, you're not getting on the court. I don't see how any self-respecting team does that. Now you're just compounding the problem. If I'm Taylor Jenkins, I'm like, look, bro, I know what you did when you were up there losing your mind with the pen, making this deal, making that deal. I mean, you signed a dude's brother that no one else was. I get what your problem used to be. I'm not beholden to that because I have to get this team ready to play. And if we don't, I can still be fired,
Right.
right? Whether I keep the job or not, like I'm building up a resume for myself for the future, whether it's in Milwaukee or whether it's someone else. So I have a job to do. I have to get these guys ready. Brayden Burries played so well in the summer leagues that they didn't play him in the last game. So the one thing that Marjon Beauchamp could not do in 3 years, Brayden Burries did in 3 games. No,
Or
no, no, no.
Ajax.
We got or Ajax. No, we see all that we need to see. You're out of here. Kasparis, we've seen all that we need to see, even though he didn't play as well as Brayden Burries, but
Mm.
we've seen all that we need to see. You're out of here. we actually have guys who are graduating in less
Right.
than the 4 games that they're allotted, graduating to the roster. Now, mind
Another
you,
person
it's
I want
because
to
we are
bring up
starting.
too that we're talking about summer league real quick is the Boston Junior. He's looking solid too. Boston Junior is looking solid. I'm
You think
not.
he
I don't know
makes
if he's
the
gonna
team?
make the rock. I don't know, but he could maybe
Yeah,
make the herd. But I do think that's somebody I'd like to keep around to see what he can do.
I like him too.
Mm,
He to me, he's like a safety trying to make a Green Bay roster right now when we already have Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams. It's going to be difficult because he's a guard and he's a wing. It's
right.
going to be it's to me it's easier to make the team as a big man on the
Oh,
squad,
easily.
which is why I would think I would be thinking about moving Tyler. Honestly, I'm not saying
So,
that I want to move,
right.
but
So now we got to
so
go
but
back
that
what I was saying, what the chat was saying about Brayden Burries, where they jumped out the window. It's like, oh, he should be starting, blah blah blah. Before this, I just didn't know he was like that. I'm not saying he
yeah.
should start, but I see why they were talking so highly. I just didn't know. I didn't know his game was. I wasn't familiar. I am now though.
I don't think it was crazy because I don't think it was crazy. He wasn't the number one overall draft pick. He was
Mhm.
apparently very good in college, but I'll be honest, I don't sit and watch college basketball
Same.
all the time. It's hard enough for me to catch the Bucks these days, right? So I
Right.
get that people might have not been super onto his game immediately, and ultimately Brayden Burries has to go out and perform. So I'm glad to find out that he did. I think I was a little more sold on him than you were because I
Mhm.
just saw the control that he
Okay.
has. That's the thing that jumps off the page to me is he's very under control. So
Almost like
I
a
know
Chris
that it's not
Paul that could control the pace like a maestro.
sort of, but the
Mhm.
player, and this is probably going to get me in trouble, but the
Mhm.
player that I kept seeing with him, even though he's shown a better offensive game, is Drew Holiday because he's
People been
so
saying that.
strong
What's wrong?
and
Yeah.
he could play that defense. And what I remember a lot about Drew Holiday is that yes, Drew would have his turnover problems. That is the difference
Hmm.
between them because Brayden Burries did not have a turnover. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't have a turnover at all, right? So there is the difference. But like in any of the games, right? But and he had the ball a lot. That is very impressive, right? But Drew Holiday, I always was impressed with the control that he played. He played at a very controlled pace, and he was strong. He wasn't like explosively fast, but he was fast
Hmm.
enough, right? But he was strong, and he just had a good feel for the game,
For
and
the
that's what I
game. Yeah.
like about Burries, right? It has me thinking about potential lineups because you can go in a couple of different directions, whether he starts or not, right? Because I'm not like married to like who starts, right? To
Hmm.
me, it's who gets the minutes, whether they're starter minutes or whatever. But let's say I personally think that you can't go into the season with all of these guards, but I could be
Oh, no
wrong.
way. He
But
had
let's
one
say we
turnover
throw
in 3 games. He had one turnover in 3 games, Brayden Burris.
that's that's great. Thank you, J. Cole. I saw you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Appreciate you, brother. One turnover in 3 games. That's nuts, right? To me, that's crazy because
Right.
I'm coming off of the season when Ryan Rollins would have seemingly a turnover every other trip down the court, and I like Ryan Rollins.
Hmm.
So when I criticize Ryan Rollins, that's not me hating on him. I think Ryan Rollins, an argument that you make for him is that you look at the jump that he made from season one to season two. It's dramatic. He's
Matic. Right.
not perfect, but there was dramatic. And one of the things that he still had to work on was his decision making, which to me wasn't entirely on him because if you don't have a good coach who's going to put you in a good position to succeed, then you are going to have a lot of turnovers. If you still have a lot to learn, right? He's not Chris Paul. He's not like a
Hmm.
coach on the court who could be like, I don't know what the coach is talking about. This is what we're going to do. Ryan Rollins is not that. So he
Right.
needed direction that he didn't get, a lot of turnovers. My point, though, is that let's say you don't go into the season with all those guards, but Ryan Rollins is one of the guys you keep. And Ryan Rollins with the defense that he could play as your point of attack defender, but then you also have Brayden Burries. That's the first thing that should jump off the page
Hmm.
to players is how well he could play defense and he could defend up, just like Drew. He could
Hmm.
defend up. I don't know how far he could go up, but he could definitely defend more than just points and twos, right? He could defend threes. These days, you could defend some of these fours. Some of these fours are not very big at all. They're tall,
Correct.
but
But they're
if I
not.
can
They're
get you
not.
out on that
Yeah.
perimeter, you're not stocky at all, right? And so Um, let's say you have Brian Rollins and you have Brayden Burries, and that's your defensive backcourt. How long has it been since we've had like a difference making defensive backcourt? We tried last year with
Hmm.
Ryan Rollins playing point of attack defense and KPJ kind of being that guy who can like steal balls from, intercept balls in the
Right.
passing lane. And it was decent. It wasn't as good as I would like it. And I think, again, some of that had to be the defensive scheme. But let's say you go and you get a Taylor Jenkins, who is a much better defensive coach than Doc was,
Doc, right.
and you have those two guys. Let me go one step further. Let's say your starting five. I don't know who you're going to start at the five, right? But let's say you go out and you get Khalil Ware, who I think we
Mm.
have to talk about at some point because that
Right.
dude has a lot of potential, right?
Agreed.
I would start Jericho Sims at the four. Not because he's
Mm.
an offensive juggernaut, but because as a big, he can move his feet and he can
Feet
switch.
and rebound.
Taylor Jenkins really likes to switch a lot. He has explosive athleticism. Yes, he has to be hand fed on offense, but if you get someone who plays the pick and roll really well, who initiates the pick and roll really well, he can do that really well. You know what Brayden Burries does really well? He initiates the pick and roll really well. And now all of a sudden our team has some cohesion that it didn't have before. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? You have like Khalil Ware was one of the guys who could play really good defense as a
Hmm.
five. Swat shots, go up and get rebounds. The most athletic guy that we have on the court is Jericho Sims. You start him at the four. Now we can move around, and then you have a backcourt perimeter defenders
Who do you put
like
at the three? Who do you put at the three? Is that Dang?
uh,
Usman Jang? I would put Usman Jang there, I think. And
I've
let it
heard
rock.
I've heard different iterations at this. I'm not married because I saw someone saying they disagree with Sim starting. I'm not married to that idea. I'm
Mm.
just saying it's you have the option to do it,
To
right?
do
But
that.
just like at the three, do you play a three guard lineup and put Tyler? If you keep Tyler Hero, do you play him at the three? I would
Mm.
prefer to have Jaime Jaquez come off the bench and be that microwave
Right.
scorer. Do you have Usman Jang? You have options. You see what I'm saying? If I'm assuming that they move on completely from all of the holdovers, right? So no more
Hmm.
holdovers, which means that at the three right now you have Usman Jane and you have Jaime Jaquez, right? Uh, I would switch Jericho Sims to the four. I would even consider. Why am I always forgetting the brother's last name? Uh, your favorite player, everyone's favorite player, really, right? And in that five room, the brother who shoots the threes from here,
Oh,
um,
the Pete Nance. Pete Nance.
Pete
Pete
Nance.
Nance.
I would consider him alternating between 4 and 5 because of what
Agreed.
he can do on the perimeter, and he can go up and get rebounds. So let's say you do keep Miles Turner, right? Miles Turner is your five. Khalil Ware is your five. At the four, you have like your three deep at the four. You got Bogey Markovic, you got Sims, and you have Pete Nance who can alternate in between. At the three, you would have Jaime Jaquez, you'd have Usman Jang, then you have maybe Tyler Hero who can alternate between two and three,
Hmm.
right? Because he's a bigger combo, I think. You still have a traffic jam. No matter what, we are over indexed, right? We have 17 people on the roster. You do have to move on from people whether we want to or not.
Speaking of
But
that, 1 second, Dr. Smith, Jay Stizzle with the $5 super chat. There are a good amount of teams that need guards. We shouldn't have any problems trading some of them. I'm hoping that's the case, Jay Stizzle. Appreciate you with the $5 super chat. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Smith? Do
who
you
do you
think
move
we
on from?
I'm thinking
Who do
AJ
you move
Green
on from?
has yeah, AJ Green has to go and damn, I don't
I
know
think
who else.
AJ Green, if you package him and you
Yeah.
send him in bulk, like he's a part of a bulk order, right?
But okay. With Kuzma or
I would
somebody.
say, yeah, look, if the idea of AJ Green was that you play him around a dominant big, then I would say call Miami. Look, we had AJ Green because of how well he fit around Giannis. You gave up all of those guys to get Giannis. Now we actually have more people than we need. Go down there and try to win yourself a championship, AJ. Be
Right.
like, like I would think about that. You know, I think it's interesting. I don't think that you can go into the season with as many guards as we do, right? I think
It's
that at some
impossible.
And notice that I said all of that, and we still haven't talked about Gary Trent Jr., right? He's one of the reasons why we're over indexed, why we have too many players. So, I mean, that's my point. Like, the time to trade players is not when they don't have any value at all. The
Correct.
time to trade players is when someone really wants them. And I don't want any players in return. We already have too many players. So
I
this is
want
the time
picks.
that you look at the roster and you say, who can fetch us the most picks, and can you stand to lose them? Can you
Mm,
stand to lose them, right? Because no matter who you send out, it's going to be someone that you would rather keep in a situation if we could keep them, but we can't keep everybody and give people the time that they need to really develop. I'm
develop.
really
Yeah.
excited about Kasparis Yakochonis. He didn't set the summer league on fire with the way that he played, but he is a really good player that I want to give more time. What happened
Hmm.
with Nate Ament in that last game is exactly why you give people the time. Because those first couple of games, I was like, I
He
don't know
looked
about this
crazy.
dude.
Yeah, he looked crazy.
I
They
mean,
were calling him
and in that
DJ
last game,
Wilson.
he was like, oh gosh, he just looked easily moved around. He just looked like if you picked him, he stayed picked. Like, you know what I mean? Now he still has a lot of work to do in the weight room.
Hmm.
He
But you
has a
see
lot
the
of that to do.
potential. You see the
But you
potential
exactly
at
you
that
see the
size. He's
seeds
pulling
there.
up. He's shooting threes. You start like, ooh. I'm like, okay, like let's see. But like you said, that's why I was telling people they were bombing on him right from when he got drafted. It's like, give him some time. Let's see. He's tall. He can shoot the three. He got the mid. He brings a lot to like kind of like Kel Ware does. Kel Ware can rebound. He can shoot the three.
He do so
We got a little bit of
much.
size. Yeah.
He
Mm.
can do so much. I really like Khalil Ware, right? And
Right,
so
right.
that's what I'm saying. These guys, you have to give them the time. Now I heard somebody say, well, why don't we do this with some of the other players, respectfully, J Hall, EDC. So can Gary if he stays.
What about Karis LeVert? That's another person too that we got to figure out what's happening with Karis LeVert. He's better than Gary
Somebody
Trent
got
Jr.
to
I'm gonna
tell
tell you
me.
that right now.
Somebody got to tell me a little bit more on Karis LeVert, right?
Mm,
I, I don't think he met. So one of the things that I'm looking for as a fan is to
mm,
create that mold of players that are all close to the same age.
true.
They fit together. They are players that can play on both ends of the court, and that they can come up together. Do you feature in our long-term plans? I don't think that Karis LeVert does.
Nah,
So if
Karis
he
LeVert,
stays
he's
with the
31. He's 31.
so so my question is that, all right, so he doesn't fit into the long-term plan. Then to me, I want the priority to be on the guys who will, right? Because if he
Correct.
stays, then someone has to go. And if that person has to go, did that person fit better with the plan moving forward? I have to think the plan moving forward is to get our team back young again, so that these guys can grow on the court at the same time, so that you can
Hmm.
start to see things happen on the court. Bogey Markovic, to me, was okay in those first
Okay,
couple of
yeah,
games. And last game, he played better,
better
right? You're starting to get that last game to me was what I needed to see in the summer league,
from a lot of
right?
players.
Because you know what I'm saying? Because and I did it again, brother here.
Paul Nance, Pete Nance.
Nance, I promise you I'm going to remain. You just call him Paul Nance, so it's not just me, right? Nance was playing good. He was shooting the ball really well and getting
Right.
up there and getting those rebounds. Bogey played well. Nate Ament finally had that good game, right? You know what I mean? And what we saw from Brayden Burries earlier
Hmm.
just got him up out of there to begin with. He's too good to be in the summer leagues. I probably think that Kasparis could have played a little bit longer because I
Agreed.
didn't. But I'm already convinced by him. This to me is like preseason football. Everybody on the preseason team is not going to make the team. You know what I
Correct.
mean? So, uh, who can we get something from? Who features in our plans? Right? What player are you? Because Boston, I think, in another year might have made this team. I just don't. I can't see him
Right.
cracking that room. Any of
Not
those
right
guys.
now. Yeah, not right
Yeah,
now. But that's what I say. Maybe on
you
the
know.
herd. Maybe on the herd. Sign him there. Let him develop. I think that's the. You can't just let that talent go because I do think that Boston Junior has talent. And I think
He does.
signing him, he's better than Alex Antetokounmpo and Thanasis. Get him on this Herro team. I'm tired of the foolishness. Anytime I just think about that, I'm just getting mad now. But yeah, I think he should be on. I think he could be on the Herro to help us. I just think
Yeah.
that'll give him some time to develop with no pressure. And I think he could be an asset over time. We have to have some projects in the mix. We have to have that dude from Trinidad and Tobago that we drafted in the second
Right.
round. Him being down there with this dude, I think they could really over time start to develop. We have to have projects as well. We can't, and not everybody's going to be plug and play like a Brayden Burries. There's people that you're going to draft or find that have talent, but it just takes time for it to mature. And I do think with Taylor Jenkins there that he's going to help expedite that process as well, or at least have an eye for who needs what type of attention.
Yeah. I think so. So I mean, if you're making an argument for Levert, because I see some people in here
Mm-hmm.
like, no, he definitely needs to stay. I'm not saying that I dislike. I'm just saying I don't know. And I think if you do make an argument for him, is that he can be the vet, because I do think that there is a problem if you have a team with nothing but young dudes, right? You know what I
Right.
mean? Where then it becomes almost like you're trying to herd cats, right? You know what I mean? Like the coach can't be the only voice of reason and the only people to get only person, or the coaching staff can't be the only people trying to get players under control. There has to
Mm-hmm.
be like someone in the room that helps to do that. This would be an argument for Gary Trent Jr. I'm not sold on that argument, but that would be
Mm-hmm.
what I would tell the league when they come investigating, is that we need a vet in the room at some point, because we got a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of young dudes, right? So if you don't do nothing, then he's the vet in the room. Me personally, that vet in the room would be Miles Turner.
Mm-hmm.
If I were making that decision, if I because I don't want a whole bunch of young old dudes, excuse me,
Right.
old dudes. I want like the greater majority of my team to be that young core, so that eventually we can become that new OKC. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But if he stays, somebody has to go, right? So like for the people who are making arguments for like these guys, that's fine. But who do you send out? You keep Levert. Who do you go? Who goes? Because Levert is what, a 2 or 3?
Three, like a three.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So who are the threes that we have? You have Nate Ament, you got Usman Jang, you got um, Jaime Jaquez. You
Right.
15 is the limit. So if he stays, who goes?
Right.
That's my thing. And maybe this is a good problem to have. I'm not saying that he can't give you anything. I'm just comparing him to the guys that we already have. We still have to unload, by the way, uh, uh, Kyle Kuzma. We have
Mm-hmm.
to officially unload AJ Green. We have to officially unload some of these other guys. I thought that would
Agreed.
be Gary Trent Jr. That's not going to happen. But we still have guys that we have to move on from. You know, and
No, I
again,
agree.
if you feel me? I'm told, like I'm seeing another name in the chat, and there's a name that I had seen in the articles, right? That there was
Peyton Watson.
conversation about getting Peyton Watson. Okay, that sounds great. Here's my thing, right? Peyton Watson to me would be perfection for what I want this team to go in. He
Right.
plays both ends of the court. The first thing that jumps off the page to me about him is his defense, right? He can go up and get the rebound. He
Mm-hmm.
can go up and if you had someone who's a good facilitator, he can really finish. He plays good offense. He can create shots for himself. His arrow is pointing up. But Denver is not going to take players back from him because they are already close to that. They're hard capped at that second apron. So they want draft picks back. They're going to want draft picks back.
100%.
Right?
A
They've
hundred
said that
percent.
they want a deal similar to the deal that LA got, which was 2 first round picks and a first round swap. So we already don't have picks.
Picks.
Are
Right.
you going to give up 2 future first round picks? This is where it becomes difficult, right? This is where it's no longer this is not fantasy basketball. Like there have to be
Right.
like tough decisions made, right? If if we had some picks like the 5 that we don't have that we sent out for Jay Crowder, maybe we can make that argument a little bit better, right? What I will give credit to John Horst is that he's made things happen where I'm like, I don't see it. I said when we thought that we were going to get Damian Lillard, I said, I don't see it. They got him. I said, I don't see how we get Miles Turner. They got him,
Right.
right? So he's done it before. But I'll ask the chat, right?
Mm,
If that is the deal, because I saw this argument being made somewhere else, that let's say Denver says we're hard capped right now. So we don't want players really, or the only players that we want are going to be guys on a low contract that maybe we
right.
can do something with in the future. Well, who fits that uh, description on this team? We like Ryan Rollins,
Hmm.
and you're over indexed at the guard position. So we'll give you Peyton Watson. We
But
want
we
Ryan Rollins in
Ryan
return.
Rollins.
Would you do it?
That's a hell of a question. We have so much like it's just the thing with Ryan Rollins. We felt like we built him, and like it's just a different type of sentimental value for Ryan Rollins. But seeing the depth that we have, I almost say you got to do it. We have so much talent. It's maybe if they would take someone else, but I don't know.
I mean, I feel like that's a toughie for me. That's not an
Right.
easily thing. If Peyton Watson comes to this team, he's easily our best three. Peyton Watson comes to this team, he's in the conversation for being one of our best, like our best player, in my
Mm,
opinion, because of what he could do on both ends. Right? Everyone else is potential. Peyton
right.
Watson being able to contribute on both ends of the court makes him better
So
than
why wouldn't
Tyler
we
Hero.
give them Kuzma? Because then they would get that 20 million off the books. Maybe
Because
another
Kuzma
player.
getting paid a lot. How much
He make
money is Kuzma
22.
getting paid?
22 somewhere in there. I think I would try
Would
to
you?
wrap Kuzma in that deal. And it's on a 1 year,
Would
so it'd be an expiring contract. That's why I'm throwing the Kuzma because he would be an expiring contract.
is that how it works? I need the
Mhm.
finances. Like, is that how it would work? Like, because
Yeah, so
that's a
he goes over
possibility.
there. Yeah, so he goes over there. They're paying that 20 million for this year, but then it's off the book. So then you have kind of almost that 20 million in the stash. You know what I'm saying?
And he can play the three, so you are
You can-
getting someone. And he is energetic. I mean, if we're trying to make an argument for Kuzma, he doesn't lack effort, right? He
That's what I'm
lacks
saying. Yeah,
like
he
quality,
looked.
like finishing touch and quality, right? But
Yeah, his IQ was
uh,
questionable.
all right, bro, I'm trying to sell the player, right? You know what I mean? That trying to sell him a little, right? But to me, yeah, you get Peyton Watson. Peyton Watson is at least an argument for your best player right then and
Right.
there, right? But would you give up the picks? Would you give up the first round picks for Peyton Watson?
No, not first round picks. That's kind of crazy. We that's our problem. We throw away picks too easily. I think we got to stand
Right.
on business. Maybe one pick, but I think player. I mean, Kyle Kuzma gets 20.49 million this year, so 20.4 expiring contract. Tyler Hero 33 million expiring contract. Who else we got
That's the
on
other thing
here?
that I'll be looking at is like these expiring contracts,
Hmm.
right? Because these guys are all up for re-signing next year.
Correct.
So So, like, all right, so let's make a conversation about Tyler Hero, right? Tyler Hero
Hmm.
is set to be re-signed next year, right? Tyler
Correct.
Hero is going to want money, right? Tyler Hero is in a room right now that is massively crowded. If Tyler
Correct.
Hero stays, he's our best scorer. There's no question about that. I don't think
If ain't
anyone would.
right.
But is Tyler Hero even in the conversation when we're talking defense? And
Not at
should
all.
that matter, right? Should it
Not at
matter?
all.
Because now, to me, it matters, right? But I outsource that question to y'all, right? He has not shown that he can play any kind of reliable defense, and he didn't do that when he had arguably the best coach in the league pushing him, right? So you didn't do this in Miami.
Mm,
How are we going to force you to play defense here? I prefer that we move back in the direction. I'm talking about Milwaukee now because of
hmm.
how we've looked the last couple of years, where we are a team that's confident on both ends, where we can actually pressure and play defense, right? So that what we lack on offense, we can create in turnovers and in pace and run people. Is Tyler Hero someone that you? Never mind what I feel. That's what Taylor Jenkins wants. That was his
Hmm.
Memphis teams. Now Taylor Jenkins also had a John Morant who can create a lot on his own, right? I
Hmm.
think leaving Burries out of it, the best person that we have right now in creating his own offense would be Tyler Hero.
Hero,
So
correct.
I would say taking that into consideration and the fact that he's set to his contract expires next year, would you keep Tyler Hero on the
I just don't.
roster?
I just don't see how he fits. That's why a lot of people, oh, you keep him for this year, and it's like, okay, but then what value to add? Because he's just gonna leave unless we give him a crazy amount of money. He's just gonna leave. So there's a lot of teams that need another scoring too, and they might be willing to give up some first round pick or two for Tyler Hero because of his offensive production. They might not worry about his defense. They got other people to take care of that. I just don't know if we want to pour in $100 and some million deal or $200 million deal to someone that's a one dimensional player. I just have never been like that. That's why when I always said you give your money to Giannis is good money because he plays offense and defense. When you
Both
only
ends.
do one, it makes it questionable. That's why when you get somebody like a James Harden, it puts you in a particular predicament due to this person only being able to do one thing, and then the other thing they do so bad it almost neutralizes what they do that is really great. And that's kind of how Tyler Hero is. He might get you 35, but he might give up 27. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
I do. That's why I'm asking these questions because to
Uh,
me, I think this needs to be workshopped. That's why I like talking to y'all. I like talking to you. I like talking to y'all because this to me is not an easy no brainer, right? Because I do think that there are going to be some times where the offense is hard pressed to figure it out. So let's make the argument for Tyler Hero. Last year, when Giannis was out, we had very little guys who
Look at
could
score.
create their own offense. That's why we were all happy that we got Cam on the team because this
Hmm.
dude could go out there and figure it out on his own. Tyler Hero's even better than that. He's much better than that. So yes, you can have like an offensive scheme, and I hope that they have an offensive scheme that can create a lot of offense out of the scheme itself, right? But you are playing up against opposing defenses that get paid to play defense too, right? So what happens when their defense is actually really successful against your offense? Do we have people that could figure it out on their own? That to me is like the argument for having people who are really good ISO scorers, right? So that when the
Hmm.
play itself breaks down,
Breaks
I'll
down.
figure it out regardless, right? He would be our best ISO player, right?
Correct.
To me, he fits in a team that already has a strong defensive infrastructure so that
Like a
whenever it
Detroit,
is he
he would fit into Detroit. He would be plug and play in
he would
Detroit.
be perfect in Detroit, right? But let's say we go and we have the offense that we're envisioning, right? Which is why I was saying, like, let's say you have an offense, like a starting five where you have a Brayden Burries and a
Hmm.
Ryan Rollins. And then at the four, you have someone who can really move his feet and whatnot, like a Jericho Sims, and you have a Khalil Ware. Everyone else there, I'm happy with defensively, right? You know what I
That's
mean?
fair.
And then you have a Tyler Hero who can produce offense when the play itself breaks down. Now, I like what I'm seeing from Brayden Burries, but I don't want to put all of that pressure on someone who
That's a
just
lot.
got here
Yeah,
in
on a
April,
you just got
right?
here, right?
Tyler Hero has done it. So, is this argument to keep Tyler Hero? To me, the biggest thing is because I see people making the argument in the chat that he said he wants to be here. Man, let me tell you about players and what they tell you what they want to do, right? Like we just saw Giannis. We just went through this. I want to stay, I want to stay, I want to stay. And we bend over backwards and we doing all these kind of John Horst is up there twerking for dollars trying to keep Giannis happy or whatever. And he still left. He still left. People change, minds change, hearts change, right? That's a lot of if he leaves, if he decides that he does this experiment with Milwaukee, and we're not as good as he would like them to be. I don't, and I think that we're going to be better than we were last year, but there's a very real possibility that that does not show up in the wins losses department, especially
Right.
when all of the Eastern Conference is still good. I think that we're going to be able to play a better brand of basketball than we showed last year. Last year was as bad as I ever want to see us play,
Oh
ever.
yeah, it won't
We
be
were
that
terrible.
bad again. No, that was
It
a
was
lot.
Doc Rivers can't even stand up straight anymore. He's sitting there. All of that was last year. I think we're going to be better than that. But let's say the results, the win-loss results, don't bear out, and Tyler Herro wants to go. He goes, now we get nothing for him.
But check this out, Rob. Bruce said by having Hero is why it's so important to go out and get a guy like Peyton Watson, two-way guy, cover his defensive flaws.
Okay, so let's keep going with that because this is what I'm saying. You have someone like Tyler Hero. I think he fits well with a team that already has a
Hmm.
firm defensive uh, infrastructure set. I
Hmm.
agree, by the way, with that point. I think it's perfect. So you go out and you get a Peyton Watson, who to me right now is an argument for our best player because of what he can do on both ends. You're set at the three defensively. Tyler Hero's now your two. Debate on who you want at the one. Maybe bring Brayden Burries off the bench, whatever the case may be, right? But again, are you willing to pay the price for Peyton Watson? To me, I
Hmm.
think you only start giving up first round picks when that guy is absolutely going to be the player that you are forming your team around. Or or you're like an OKC where we already have that in play. I don't need my future picks as much as everyone else
Hmm.
because the core that I have right now is already established. They're young, so I don't need them as much. I don't think Milwaukee's in that situation. I think Milwaukee needs their picks, right?
Agreed.
If Peyton Watson comes, is he the player that you're building the team around? Like, is he your franchise player?
I don't think
I'm not
that.
giving.
I'm
So
not. I
for
don't think
me,
that.
I say no if they're asking for picks. As much as
Right.
I want them, and that's the thing, it's not fantasy basketball. You want everybody, right? But
Right.
Trey Burke, when they were talking about him or from down here in New Orleans,
Hmm.
he'd be perfect. Is Burke his last name? I think
Yeah, Trey Burke. Oh, are you talking
Trey Burke.
about
He
Trey Murphy? Murphy. Yeah.
Trey Murphy. I'm sorry, Trey Murphy. He'd be perfect. He'd be perfect. But New Orleans is asking for 3 first round picks. You giving up 3 first round picks for Trey Murphy? Then he better
Nah.
be honest. That's what I'm saying. Because now you are the franchise. Because we've just given up our future to build around you for you. So you have to be good enough to make up for all that we're not getting in the immediate future. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
If Peyton Watson comes, then he has to be good enough to give up what we're not getting. We're not getting another Brayden Burries because of
Correct.
Peyton Watson. The Brayden Burries that we might pick up next year. You see what I'm saying? So it's. I'm not saying I have the answers. I'm just saying that each decision comes with a domino effect, the kind of domino effect that I wish John Horst would have taken into consideration when he was making some of those goofball decisions instead of just sitting there at
Man,
the table putting his face in that plate of cocaine, right? You know what I
uh,
mean? Like he just
this
kept
look
doing
crazy.
it. So
Dr. Smith, let me just read off Gary Trent. So 26, 27, 14 million, 15 million, then 16 million, then 17 million. These numbers just sound crazy. I just had to repeat it just to make sure it
and
sticks in
it's
the
fully
mental Rolodex.
guaranteed.
It's fully
Fully
guaranteed. It's
guaranteed.
crazy. Oh my God.
So everything that we see from Gutekunst, right? It's what the complete opposite. Gutekunst said, I'm telling you, call him on the phone. Did you fully guarantee all of that money? Like you can't get out of it at you. All right, I'll talk to you later, bro. Like and just that dude is wilding, right? And to hang up on his phone. That dude is wild. You can't get out of that. Sign, seal, delivery. You gave him more money, more guaranteed money in basketball than you gave to someone in football, and that's what they're looking for in football is the guaranteed money. You could, I don't.
It's
Anyway,
crazy.
I can't talk about Gary Trent anymore, right? But it's an interesting question. Like, who do you give up to get a Peyton
Right.
Watson? Because I agree, I think he'd be perfect on this team.
Hmm.
Can you imagine that? Can dream with me for a second? You have a backcourt of Rollins with his defense. I know he makes a lot of mistakes, but I don't anticipate that happening forever. And I think with more development, more time in the league, better coaching, better instruction, I think those turnovers go down, especially if he shares ball handling ability with someone like a Burries who could start,
Hmm.
right? You have Burries. in Rollins. Let's say you decided to move on from
Mm,
Tyler Hero. You have
right.
Burries, you have Rollins, you have Watson, you have Sims, and you have uh, Ware, and
Mm,
that's your defense that you're having to go up under. There's no one who's dragging anchor. There's no one who's
mm.
slow. There's every one of those guys can switch
Athletic.
up. That's like 5 out defense. That's like 5 out. Each one of those guys can go out to the perimeter. No more Bobby Portis. This guy's just going to get run around no matter what. Like, no more of that. Each
All right.
one of these guys can stay in front of the player. That would be fantastic. But would you be willing to give up what they're asking for? This is where the Milwaukee Bucks need to become more like the Packers and start becoming more like conservative with what it
Conservative.
is. You see what I'm saying? I think it's an interesting question.
It is.
I
It's the picks
financially,
that hurt it. I would give up most of the players. I think the picks are the stickler, Dr. Smith. It's the picks.
and
I
I
think it.
agree, J. Cole, that in the Packers sphere they would call him an ascending player. That's what we would say about Watson. I look, J. Cole, I'm
Oh,
right with their champion.
ooh.
I'm saying him on this team, he would be an argument for our best player. He would be like an Xavier McKinney. That's how I would look
Okay.
at Peyton Watson. Peyton Watson comes to the Bucks. He's like Xavier McKinney for what he could do for the defense, because to me he's a force multiplier. If you have someone that could go out, I saw a play with Peyton Watson
Mm-hmm.
where he did 2 back-to-back swats. He swatted the ball away from someone. Another player got the ball, not on his team. It was further
Mm-hmm.
out on the perimeter, and he tried to shoot it, and he swatted him. So he just went down the line, swatting the ball away. Like, that's how much effort and ability that he has with that wingspan. These are all things that we didn't have. All due
That's a
respect
fact.
to AJ Green, who gave effort, right? How much was he doing with his wingspan? Gary Trent with his wingspan. Like, all these guys who were just limited right out the gate. We go out and we get a dude like Cam who weren't defending anything. All of that gets flushed out the window, right? We have wingspan, we have length, we have guys who can move their feet, we have guys who want to play defense, and we're giving those guys to Taylor Jenkins. I'm telling you, the defense, I would watch them just for the defense alone.
I
Just for the
agree.
defense alone, right? You can become like Minnesota 2 years ago. Remember when Minnesota's defense was like, how do we get around these guys? These guys,
Right.
we could be like that. But do you give up all that they're asking for to get them? Because that is, once again, we're right back into the mortgaging our future away days, right? When
Correct.
we're trying to get that back. But the counter argument is, yeah, all right, well, you don't want to give up the picks, but is any of those picks, do you think that he's going to be as good as this guy Peyton Watson is right now? I'm not trying to make Peyton Watson out to be Kevin Durant. I'm
Right.
not crazy. I'm saying how he fits with your team. He's perfect right now. He's like Drew Holiday
Right.
going to the Celtics. He's like he unlocked everything. The Celtics were invincible when they had Drew Holiday and
Correct.
Kristaps. Right? You see what I'm saying? Drew Holiday was not their best player, but when he came, it was like, all right, well, forget it. It don't even make sense watching basketball, right? There's nothing you could do with them because of what they were able to do on both. So to me, Peyton Watson is a force multiplier. You know,
No, this is a tough decision. I think we need to revisit this too and see how things work. But I do agree with you. But are we willing to give up more picks? And then we still got this investigation looming, so we don't know how that's gonna go. But are you just saying, look, hey, let's just do it? If we're gonna rebuild, go get the players we need, and let's see what happens. I know we've gotten a few picks back. Obviously, we've got a couple second rounders now, a few first rounders with Giannis, but we just got them back. Do we want to send them right back out the door so soon? Like
if that's what they
this is a
asked for,
tough this is a tough one. Damn, I don't even really know what
if
the
that's
right
what they
answer
asked for,
is.
me neither. That's what I'm saying. I outsource it to the chat. I think that's a
So
good
look at
debate. These are
Jeanette.
the best conversations to have, right?
Right, look at
I
Jeanette. We get Watson, we can compete right now. And those are the type of questions that come to the table. You get him, you need that changes your whole expectation level. Now you're like playing isn't out of the question. it it's not crazy now.
And I do think that, see, it's hard to make the argument that he's better than any pick that we would get
Hmm.
for
That's
him
what.
because I don't know who we're going to get, who you be. But I value picks as well, right? Because of
Hmm.
that, we feel completely different because of the way that Burries is played, right? He's so under control. He makes very little mistakes. Was it J. Cole who put up the stat? He had one
Hmm.
turnover in 3 games, one turnover in 3 games. We look at how highly we regard Ryan Rollins, and we should because he
All
made
right.
such a big jump between season 1 and season 2. He's exactly what you want to see in a draft and development process. Doesn't mean that he's perfect. He still has a lot to work on. There was some brain dead turnovers that he had, but he was so much better in his mid range game, so much better in his perimeter game, so much more confident on defense, right? Uh, that's what you want to see in draft and develop. So who knows what we would get with those picks? But Peyton Watson, and how old
He's.
is Peyton Watson?
Well, let me see.
What
Peyton
is his
Watson.
age?
I'm about to look right now. Hold on 1 second. He's 23. Ah, damn.
That's perfection. He's 23.
And he's 6'8".
Oh,
Pull the trigger. What up? Just pull the trigger. Get this man over here. 6'8". Just get him over here. That's cool. Get him over here. We'll figure it
he's
out.
only been
That's
able
a
to work for
lottery
2
pick.
years.
That's a lottery pick.
Right. That's a first rounder.
That's a first
So
round
you
lottery
you give
pick.
up a first rounder for a first rounder who has proven it in this league. Because the first rounders that you get haven't proven it. You're hoping that they would prove it. He's a first rounder who's proven it. And he played with Jokic. So you're coming from
A
again,
structured
you cannot play
environment.
with someone that smart and your IQ not go up. It's impossible. And continue to get minutes. You would look crazy by comparison. So you wouldn't be able to stay on the floor. If Jokic is doing all the brilliant things that Jokic can do, and you can't keep up, you can't get on the floor. He was able to stay on the floor with maybe the smartest basketball player. Not even maybe. He was able to stay on the court with the smartest basketball player in basketball, other than LeBron.
And he was a
And he was
first
able
round
to
pick.
keep
Just
up.
so you know, Peyton Watson was a 2022 first round pick 30 from OKC. OKC know how to spot talent. But from OKC, right? I just want to give you the numbers for this year. He played 54 games. He started 40. He played 30 minutes a game. He shot 49% from the field, 41% from three, 73% from the line. He averaged 4.9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, 1 steal, and he averages 1.7 turnovers in 30
So
minutes.
it's perfect. So, Chad, what would you do? I see J. Cole, he said he'd do it. J. Hall would said he'd do it. But here's the now we're gonna add some more complication and bring it to the real world, right? It's not like Milwaukee is the only team that wants him.
Once
We
him,
are in
right.
competition with 2 other teams. So it's you have to out compete them, right? This is not like for the Packer fans in here when we were trying to get Josh Sweat, but we seemed to be the only people who wanted him. And Gutekunst
Mhm.
was like, "Yeah, nah, no, we have to outcompete 2 teams to get Peyton Watson. So let's say we do decide that, all right, well, we want to get him,
Mhm.
and then Denver hits us with, yeah, well, yesterday's price is not today's price. The price of the brick just went up. Like, you know what I mean? This is what we did to Boston, right? Right? They wanted to give us a deal and we were like, and Miami said, all right, well, we'll throw in there Yakachonis. And they were like, all right, Boston, we cool. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Teams do this all the time, right? So if if you are now in a bidding war with Peyton Watson,
Uh-huh.
where they say, all right, I want again, it's not I don't think it's the players that they're going to want because the reason that they don't want to give up Peyton Watson. So let's just start there. They don't want to do this. They have to do this because they're hard capped. So you can't take on other salaries. So they're going to want picks unless you can give up somebody that doesn't cost a lot currently on your roster. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to speak like an expert, but that is my understanding. That's my read of the situation. Please, if somebody has a better read, of Denver's finances, please show me, because that
What
is
is it?
my understanding of their situation as to why Peyton Watson is even available. Because I guarantee you, they don't want to give him up. They have to give him up.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh. Let me go over some salaries for you, Dr. Smith. Let me try to put this on the screen. Hold on one second. Give me a second here. Hold on. This ain't my normal setup. Just give me a second here so we can take a look at this real quick. All right, there we go. So just to see, Jokic for this year, 59 million. Jamal Murray, 50 million. Aaron Gordon, 31 million. Cameron Johnson, 23 million. Christian Braun, 21 million. That right
That's what
there
hurt him.
tells you.
That's what hurt him. The Christian Braun, because he didn't play well. So he Gary Trented us, right? You know what I mean? You gave him the money and then he flopped. And that's what hurt him, right? So he gave us the Gary Trent. So look, we're right there in the same boat, Denver. Like we're over indexed,
Hmm.
but they're really over indexed because they are where we were a couple years ago. Remember when
Yeah,
we
they. I
had that
believe they're in
that
the second
second
apron.
apron?
Don't quote me on that, but I think that they're in the second apron. Let me see if
Yeah,
I
they're in
can
the
look
second
here.
apron. That's why
Let
they
me
want to give
just
him. It's not like he's perfect. The dude is 23. He can do all of that. He's perfect. Again, he's not Kevin Durant. He's
look
not the
at that
person that you build a franchise around, but he's the perfect final piece or the
piece, right?
perfect piece to build with.
Oof.
If that makes sense, guys. Like he's the perfect person. Like he's not your franchise player, but he, to me, the ceiling for him is OG Anunoby on the Knicks,
Mhm.
where like you have a Jalen with you, you have a Carl
Right,
Anthony Towns with you, but time and again, who was making like those glue plays
right.
that got you over San Antonio's OG
And we
Anunoby?
got
And I
financial
said,
freedom, even with everything going on. Dr. Smith, respectfully, look at our salary where we're at right now. Even with the Dame money, dead money there, we're 21st. We got the 21st highest payroll.
so we can pay him, but it's what does Denver want
Want
to
correct.
get
That's what I
him,
wanted. Correct.
and would you give that up? Now, for me, like I said, that's your OG Anunoby. He's
Right.
not your Giannis. He's not your. That's your OG Anunoby. I value those guys. I told my mother. I told them, like my family who are still Knicks fans, that when they got OG Anunoby, you call her right now and told her. I said that is one of the best signings that you've had in a long time because he complements what you guys have so well. He brings it together. He brings the room together in a way. I'm telling you, Peyton Watson on this team would be like
No,
one
I
of those
agree.
guys to bring. You know what I'm saying? Especially he could play really well off the pick and roll, and we're already talking about how much we value Yakachonis and his ability
Right.
to initiate the pick and roll. Brayden Burries' ability to initiate the pick and roll. So it's not
I
just
actually,
defense; like he'd be able to
right.
contribute offensively too. Oh man,
And I think other teams are going to be selling too. The reason I put, because we always talk about OKC. OKC has some money issues. 233 million. They're going to have to unload some people. Like you got Chet 41, Jalen Williams 41, Shea Gildas Alexander at 40, that jumps to 60, then 65, then 70. Then you got Isaiah Hartenstein making 23. You got Alice Caruso making 19. You got Lou Dort making 17. They're gonna have to move some people gonna have to get moved. So I do think we're gonna
so
be in a
so we
good
can get
position.
other places. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what I was seeing as well. Like say we can't land the big fish, right? Peyton
Mm-hmm.
Watson. That's like the big whale that we're trying to.
Right.
Let's say we can't do it, and this is when people uh, paralleled over to Jonathan Kuminga, you know, who
Right.
I'm, but I'd much rather Peyton Watson for that.
The
But
yeah, there's
I
Kaminga,
saw someone,
absolutely.
so Dragon Music said we take on Braun. They're begging us to take Watson, right? My question then would be, well, if we take on Braun, does Denver even want to give up Watson at that point?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Does that bring? And I don't know. I'm asking. You
Right.
know what I mean? Does if we were to take him on, does that bring them below the second apron? Because if it
I
does, then
believe
I don't think
so.
they want to give up. Then I don't think they want to give up Watson. They don't want to give up Watson. They
Right.
have to give him. They don't want to give him up. They have to give him up, right? And so the minute we create any kind of conditions that allow them to keep him, they're like, oh no way, we do that. We're keeping him because, like J. Cole said, he's an ascending player. His
Mm-hmm.
arrow is pointing firmly up, right? So, man, that's a man. Can you imagine that though? If I'll tell you what, Horst, as tight as I am about the Gary Trent thing, if you got Watson, for me, all is forgiven at that point, right? I would say get Watson and then just leave the room. I'm not saying fire you, but just leave the room and go on vacation and just don't do anything for a year and just let the team play out, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I think when he's not getting high, there are some moments. Let me stop saying that before people think I'm serious. When he's not,
There
when he can be controlled from his worst impulses,
we
I
go.
think there is some genius there with John Horst, right? But uh, if he can get that, someone just pointed out that he's also a clutch athlete. That's what I would be saying. But I feel
Clutch
like
owe us. Mm.
that's what I would be saying. But I feel like, look, after the way that you allowed yourself to be completely undone by clutch management, I don't know if I want to. You're out of your league with them. Like you're clearly out of your waters with them. So maybe you want to deal with them as little as possible. You can't help it because Brayden Burries is a clutch athlete, but
Right.
you know, you might be thinking something is great and then turn around and find yourself Gary Trenton again, right? So I don't know, man, but I would kind of push that button. Like you know what I'm saying? Look, we are out here looking crazy in these streets because of how we dealt with you. Can you at least have us looking and if they're intelligent management over at Clutch, they're like, well, we don't owe you anything when it comes to that. The deal is the deal. You made the deal. You shouldn't have made the deal if you didn't want it, right? That's
Right.
just business. You know, that dude is over there in his Jay-Z bag. Like, I don't owe you anything. Like, you know what I mean? You were the Dame Dash to my Jay-Z. I don't owe you anything. Like, yeah, you shouldn't have made the deal, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like but yeah, to the Peyton Watson thing, the more I think about it,
It's almost a must
I
do
would do
almost at this.
I
Yeah.
would do it. Yeah, because he brings it.
Let's
Because
do
again,
it.
he's not your star, but he's your OG Ananobi.
Right.
He's your OG Ananobi. And that is, I'm telling you, that was just as important as Jalen and Carl Anthony Towns. Some of those plays that he was making in that run, in that finals. You need someone to bring the room together. And the type of defense that you would be able to play with a Taylor Jenkins. This is not Doc Rivers' defense.
Fair.
This is a Taylor Jenkins. This is the go back and look at the stats at some of the defenses that the Grizzlies were able to put up year after year, right? When Brooke
Mm-hmm.
Lopez was at his best, he was defensive first
Player of the
runner
year.
up for
Right.
defensive player of the year. Do you remember who actually won the award? That was
Who
Triple
did?
J from the Grizzlies.
Oh, Jaron Jackson Jr.
He
That's
won
right.
it. He won it, right? They had they had defense all across that board. They're able to play really good defense. Like you know what I mean? If we go out and yeah, right, exactly, Trina. If we go out and we get Peyton Watson, Giannis, that's exactly the player that Giannis would have wanted when he was there. But look, it is what it is,
It
man.
is
This
right.
is all of this stuff is able to happen now that he was going. That would suck. But if we yeah, if Ed, if we get Peyton Watson, who's your starting five? Well, that would
Mm-hmm.
depend on who we have to move out because I do think that again I don't know the math, right? But how much money is Ryan Rollins making right
Let me
now? And if
check.
they move on,
Go ahead. That's where I'm gonna look right now.
I'm saying if they move on from Peyton Watson because they're trying to stay under that hard cap, could you send? What contracts could we send? Let's not even say just Ryan Rollins. What contracts could we send that would keep them
Ryan
under
Rollins
that?
ain't getting no bag, so he gonna want a bag next year. He only getting 4 million, Dr. Smith, with a 4 million player option. You know how we like to give them player options. So we got to pay him after this year. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Unless we move and
Would
we're
it
gonna
be
have to
next
pay him.
year that we have to re-up? So next
Hmm.
year would be the re-up.
Yeah, same with Kevin Porter Jr. You see that? He get 5 million this year, nothing on the table. Ryan Rollins got a player option. He's definitely gonna opt out of.
Now, how if they give up Peyton Watson, how much money? Like this is a math problem now. Like how much are they
Hmm.
under? You
Yeah,
know,
I gotta look into
because
that. We
you
got
said
hey chat help out there. Chat, what y'all know about that? How much does Denver need to do to get under the chat? Get under the cap? Let me just go to Denver real quick because they got the highest payroll in the league, or it's
right.
one of
So
the
them
highest
giving
payrolls. Yeah, 214 million. I feel like that's second apron because I feel like that's where we were at before.
they're absolutely second. That's the only reason that Peyton Watson is up for
Hmm.
grabs is because of that. They don't, I reiterate they don't want to give him up. This is not something that they want to do. This is something that they have to do. So they can't take contracts back unless those contracts are little to nothing. If even that, that's what I'm saying. That like the math, I don't know the math, right? So
Hmm.
can they even take a contract back? Can they take any of our contracts
Oh,
back?
that's right. If they're
They
in the
might.
second apron, it got to be dollar for dollar. It has to be equivalent dollar for dollar if they're in the second apron. They can't take back more. They can't take back less, or they can't take back more. It has to be the exact amount. I believe they let us know in the chat, but that's I believe it's something to that effect, though, Dr. Smith.
Which means that they can't take any players back. So for them, then it's strictly going to be picks. So,
Well, we'll see. I don't want to misspeak. We gonna see.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I want somebody who's better at the math, like
Man,
to help me.
he said they can have
You know what I mean?
AJ.
Like whether Peyton Watson's on the table or not, AJ, throw some.
Yeah, he's gone. We might buy him out his contract. Like
You
he is
don't fit.
terrible.
Like he just
Right.
respectfully, they don't. It don't fit. Now,
Oh, 221 million. Bronze contract kicks in this year. Oh man, so they definitely got to get rid of people.
yeah, it's a fire sale over there. But
There's
that's why they're in a position where they have to give up an ascending player. There's no way that they want to do that. So the Braun thing really hurt them, right? Because that was like
Mhm.
an all-in move, and Braun was supposed to be that guy. And I saw what they were thinking. Like
Yeah,
Braun had like a good run in the playoffs or whatever, but he let himself down with the way that he played last year. So now they're in a spot where you know they don't want to give up their Xavier McKinney.
correct.
Can we go out and get an Xavier McKinney? And what would you give up to do it? Because I I'm I say if they ask for two firsts, if they ask for two firsts, I would say yes, but then I would have to move on from Miles Turner and try and recoup those picks in a separate deal.
Mm,
We're
mm.
over indexed at the center position as well. Now, do I really want to give up Miles Turner? I'm
No,
50-50 because he didn't have a good year last year. A lot of that I think had to do with culture and team and people around him and all the
agreed.
rest of it. But we also have Kalel Ware, who I do want to get on the court, and you have who can play.
Pete Nance.
I
Pete
just
Nance.
Nance.
Pete
So you
Nance.
got you got it right there. So you got Nance, who's your backup center. You have Jericho Sims if you still want to have him at center, right? I think he could vacillate between the 4 and the 5, so
All
that
right.
you have players. No matter what, you're gonna bleed to get Watson. You're gonna have to give up something you don't want to get.
Yo,
So
he said you're gonna
who would you
bleed.
live with? You're gonna have to bleed. It's you know what I'm saying. You to get him, but I guarantee you, if you get him, your perimeter defense has an opportunity to be elite, elite. An opportunity. I'm not saying that it's a done deal. He comes and all of a sudden we're shut down. Now, the best defense in the league, it's still places like San Antonio and OKC in New York,
Right.
right? Those are your. I'm not saying we're them. I'm just saying that we look at what we were last year, look at what we've been the last couple of years, and then look at what we could be this year. And these guys are all kids still. I'm not trying to.
Mm-hmm.
treat them like little boys. These are grown men, but they haven't been grown men for very long. That dude Watson is only legally able to drink for the last 3 years. That's it. So he's still young still. So you have a chance to be good for a while.
Right.
Starting five, if let's say they only ask for picks and you get to keep all the other players, then my starting five would be Rollins,
Hmm.
Tyler, because this is exactly what we were talking about. This is the defense that you could put around him to allow him to be that guy. Tyler, Watson,
Right.
obviously, Jericho
What's
Sims,
this?
Kelly Ware. That would be my
That's
starting five.
that's a borderline playoff team to me. Like Troop, I'm not talking about playing. I'm talking about it could be like a seventh, eighth seed. I think with that team, I think it's
What
not
would yours be?
very pretty much the same. Literally, pretty much the same. Just for the switchability, I just want, and I think that that's what Taylor Jenkins is gonna look at as defense, because defense create offense. And I think maybe he implements that first. He's looking for people to play defense just because of how terrible we've been the last couple of years defensively. I think that's kind of where his head would be as well, Dr. Smith. I completely am aligned with you there. I don't see any problems with it. And if it is, we'll adjust later. But for right now, you got everybody that can switch to almost any player. And then we got a little bit more size now with Peyton Watson. We'd be a bigger, more athletic team, wingspan. It
What Tyler Hero doesn't give you on defense can be made up, right? You can make up for defensive deficiencies, right? Jalen
Steph
Brunson is
Curry
not
been
going to
getting
stop,
his defensive deficiencies protected for his whole career. If they can, I mean, I'm just using him as an
right?
example. I'm not, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
No,
it
no,
can
no.
be done
I get what you're saying. I was the champs, the Knicks. Jalen Brunson's not stopping anybody, right? But they made up for it
with
with
an
everyone
OG,
else, right?
Mikal
So let's
Bridges.
say, right, with all of those other guys, you can make up for it. You just can't do like what we did, which is go out and get a
Hmm.
Damian Lillard and a Malik Beasley, and you're playing a defense
Yeah, you
that
can't
is not.
compound the problem.
You can't do that. But if you play like a switching defense and you getting Tyler Hero's ass, look, you are not coming here and just completely not playing defense at all, bro. Like you are going to play defense. We you see what I'm saying? We're this close to trading you to Detroit as it is for picks that we just gave up to get Peyton Watson. If you can get us picks back, you out the door. So if we're gonna keep you, you're gonna play defense. Because quiet as it's kept, we still have Burries and KP.
All
If I'm
right,
not giving anybody up, and KPJ, and Rollins, and Yakachonis, like we are over indexed at the guard position to get Peyton Watson back. You're gonna have to give up somebody you don't like because we're already over like our limit. We already have 17 people on the roster, so you're still
facts.
gonna have to give up somebody. But that would be my starting five. My starting five would be Rollins, Hero,
Well,
Peyton Watson, Jericho Sims, and I would not start Turner. I would start Ware.
I might start
And
KPJ instead of Ryan Rollins. It depends how I feel. I might start KPJ. I feel he's a little bit more
I'm
explosive.
good with
That would
that too.
might, yeah, I would probably go
I'm good with that
KPJ.
too. I like Rollins better as a defensive player. I like KPJ better as an offensive player. But I'm now, how does KPJ and Tyler Hero exist on the court at the same time?
Man, I don't know how
That
the
I don't,
locker room. Yeah, that's gonna be very interesting. Very
right?
interesting. What up, Janet MOC? Appreciate you tapping in.
So for
Specialized.
me,
Okay.
so for me, that's also a part of it. Um, but Tyler Hero can be. Please don't misunderstand what I'm
Mm.
about to say, right? Because I know people are going to be like, "Oh, this dude is crazy," right? Tyler Hero could be your John Moran if I'm looking at what Taylor Jenkins did. He's
Hmm.
no John Moran. I'm not saying it. What I'm saying is that John Moran could create his own offense. Tyler Hero can create his own offense, right? So you have guys around you that can do a lot of everything, right? They can make up for your lack of your defensive deficiencies. Although John Morant was not bad on defense, in my opinion,
Right.
but but in offensive set breakdowns where you need someone to create their own shot, you have someone like Tyler Herro who can figure it out by himself. So if you're not getting points off the turnover, if you're not getting like if you're not scheming the offense, if it all breaks down, then you have, never mind John Morant. This is what Chris Middleton I felt was really good at. Like when all else broke down, Chris Middleton could figure it out on his own. He could do that. That's what you have in Tyler Herro. Tyler Herro has very,
Hmm.
very good ISO offense.
Yeah, that he
You know what I mean? I'm not
specializes
saying
in
he's
that. I
elite.
almost want to say that he almost specializes in that.
Right.
To be honest,
Right. That's his standout thing. Because to me, he doesn't get a lot of his points within the scheme. He gets a lot of his points in those ISOs, right? So I'm leery about that because ISO is not like my favorite thing, but I do think
hmm
that it has value because you do need someone that could score when the scheme breaks down. That's what we didn't have last year. Look at how ugly the offense would become last year if KPJ was off the court and Giannis wasn't playing. It was
fair,
rough sometimes.
very,
You know,
very
yeah,
fair.
Rollins out there trying to do it, but I think Tyler Hero's better than all those guys at that. So he could be like your Chris Middleton. Never mind the John Morant. He could be like your Chris Middleton in that way. Chris Middleton is still a much better player than Tyler Hero, but I think he's smarter and he could also play defense, but only in so much that he can give you that ISO offense when the scheme breaks down. I think Burries is very smart. I like what I see about his IQ, and I think that he would be able to keep that system evened out very
He,
much in
he,
the same way
I
that Drew
think Burris
Holiday did.
almost has a veteran mentality already. Like
He
he's
does.
very impressive. Like I'm not trying to overgas because I was a person like y'all doing too much, but I get it and I'm seeing it. And when is the last time that we've seen any Bucks players be allowed to leave summer camp early because they're too good for the competition? That
He
already lets
graduated
me
soon.
know.
He graduated as soon as we got here. So I really like that. Again, if we're not giving up play, we have to give up somebody, right? Because we have too
Uh,
many players, right? So, but let's say we go with that starting lineup, and then off the bench, regardless of who you choose, right?
mhm.
KPJ or Ryan Rollins, I would be worried about how KPJ and Tyler Hero fit on the court at the same time. But let's say you go with that first lineup, right? And you're concerned with scoring off the bench. Then that's why you have Jaime Jaquez, who was a sixth player of the year candidate because of what he could do as far as his
So
microwave scoring.
balanced, right?
You know, so for me, that's what I'm trying to keep. I'm trying to keep like the balance in the teams. And again, it's not like you sub out five players. Like you have a starting five, so when the bench guys
Mm.
come in, all five of those guys have to go out, and the new five have to come back in. This you can play with your lineups to meet the need of the time, but that's why you need more players who could play on both ends of the court,
The
so
court.
that you can
Hmm.
keep getting wave after wave after wave, and you can mismatch. Like the more I think about it, like I said, someone like a Peyton Watson with those guys. I really like Ryan Rollins because he plays on both ends of the court. Khalil Ware, both ends of the
To
court.
the court. Mm.
Brayden Burries, both ends of the court. You go out and you get a Peyton Watson, then you could play high tempo. You could slow it down. Like there's so much that you could do with that. I would give up the picks. But now you have another player in, and you didn't offload any players, which means that you got to figure out, even if it's not in that trade, you got to figure out how to move on from these players.
Agreed.
So if they're asking for the picks, then this would have to be in conjunction with other stuff going on, whether it's a three team trade, or whether multiple trades. But that's like multiple stuff going on. Which is if Peyton Watson comes in, to me, Miles Turner goes,
Right. I agree.
or
I
some
agree.
or someone high valued, right? This is when you would think about Tyler Hero maybe going. Someone high valued where you can get those first round picks that
Front
you
picks.
just lost in the trade back.
Breck.
and, and you're over and you have too many players. You're overstocked at players. You don't have enough picks. You just gave up picks to go and get another player. Although that player is an argument for your best player already. He's your OG Anunoby. He's your Xavier
Facts.
McKinney, right? But now we got to figure out how to make it happen. The question is, do you trust Horst anymore to be able to figure his way out of that?
That
Because
is the
if it
million
were
dollar
OKC,
question.
bet that they would have like this plan figured out already. They would already know if it were OKC's general manager. Mickey Harrison, he'd figure that out. But do we trust Horst to figure that out? Because Horst has had his moments. Horst did get us all those Miami players.
Correct.
But Horst also gave. We're also now right back. We're in an investigation because of Horst right now. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So Horst is. Who do you give up to get Peyton Watson? Even if they don't want players back and they want picks, but you have to offload players, then how would you make space for that?
True.
No, I'm asking, who do you
I,
give up? We already have to give people up. We
mm-hmm.
already have too many people signed. We already have to figure this out. Bringing him in means that we have more to figure out. But we're not. We're already in that spot. For Kyle Kuzma is still on this roster, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Who
That's
do you
true.
give up if you go out and get yourself a Peyton Watson? Who would you? Who would?
I would
How
try to
would
get.
you?
I mean, if I could, I would try to get rid of Kuzma because that's 20 million off the books. If I
So
could.
so what's our right now as it stands? Like what we have Kuzma, we got
Uh, as far as hold on, let me just put our roster on
like
here.
without adding a Peyton Watson to the mix. Who do we have right now?
So we got Tyler Hero, Miles Turner. We still got Damian Lillard contract, Kyle Kuzma, Gary Trent Jr., AJ Green, Brayden Burries, Jaime Jaquez, Usman Jang, Nate Ament, Kevin Porter Jr., Kel Aware, Ryan Rollins, Cass, Jericho Sims, Pete Nance, Bogo, Cam Jones, Cormac Ryan, and then we're still paying Vasily Mitchell.
Okay, so what's the roster limit? It's 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how many players are actually like signed like that? So take that math problem then and figure. I think this is a good thought exercise for
Right.
chat too. How do you figure out a way to get Peyton Watson in house?
Yeah, leave the
Because you've
comments in the
already
comment section too after the video
yeah.
if y'all think of something. How do we get Peyton Watson? That's what I want to know. How do we get it?
Because this is a math problem even without him. We
Mm-hmm.
already have too many people, and Denver is not going to want players in return
Mm-hmm.
unless we can send them players that don't put them over that second apron.
Apron,
So do
right.
we have players that can do that? He said trade AJ Green, Kuzma, and Cam. Okay, so who you're not going to trade him to Denver,
Right.
so you're going to have to find homes for each one of those guys.
Or have to
It's
be
a
other
lot of
teams
work,
involved.
but
Or other teams will have to be involved. That's gonna be a lot of work too. Hey, this battery about to die, Dr. Smith. Let's get last words. I don't want this to cut off on us. And then we're gonna have to
oh,
revisit this. I'm
sure,
gonna try to go
sure.
live in the next day or two as well. Cause this is an interesting this pay just this Peyton Watson portion is interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause he
This
could
just
be a
threw me
difference
right off.
maker.
I was so
Go ahead, Dr.
man.
Smith.
I mean, you know, because I got like 1,000 pounds of homework. I still haven't gone to the gym. I'm gonna be up to like 3 o'clock in the morning trying
let
to
me
figure this
let
out.
me let
But
Mr.
because
Appreciate
because
you,
I was
Dr.
here
Smith.
talking about it. But yeah, okay. The 25 million trade exceptionally, and we would need a third team. Okay.
Mhm.
Um. Okay. That I'm because that's a part of the game I'm not sharp
All right.
enough on.
Me either.
Like
That's
I
why I don't
don't
want to
know.
misspeak. Salute, Bleacher.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah,
So
but
yeah.
I think that's math. I think it's a math. So all right. So final words, right? If we're talking about Peyton Watson, yes, I've talked myself into that. I think getting
He said,
him
talk myself into
would
that. It's
be
hilarious.
like, yeah, getting him would be like when the Packers got Xavier McKinney for defense. And why I'm
Facts.
so on that is because if you held my feet to the fire, I like defense in basketball more than offense. And it's because we've been lacking it for so long in Milwaukee that it would be like it would put me over the moon to be able to
Right.
see a team again that can go out and I'm not even hoping for a shutdown. I just want people to put up real resistance, to go out and play high tempo
Facts.
defense, to go out and have more than just Ryan Rollins who could pressure full court, right? Have more than just Pat Beverly when we had him for the 5 minutes that we did, who could pressure full court. When you have multiple players who could do that and who fit well as a defensive unit, I would love to see that. So for me, I would love for that to happen. But that compounds a problem that we already have, which is we have too many players. How do you figure
Mm.
that out? Do
Yeah,
you
that's gonna be.
keep Tyler Hero? Pros and cons, right? Tyler Hero would be our best scorer. Tyler Hero is one of our worst defenders, but he is our best scorer if he stays on the team. Ryan Rollins, the arrows pointing up. Look at the jump that he made from season 1 to season 2. Do you just give up on that? Because how much of a jump can he make from season 2 to season 3 with more competent coaching, right? Kevin Porter was our best player for most of the season because Giannis wasn't on the court for most of the season, right? Do you keep him? He's not a nothing on defense. He's not Ryan Rollins, but he's not a nothing on defense. But how does he coexist with someone who plays like Tyler Hero?
This is
Do
man.
you
This is
even
a
put them
great
on the
debate.
court at the time, right? Brayden Burries in 2 years might be our best guard. You give him
People are
2 years, he
people are
might be
saying
our
that in the
best guard.
chat. People are saying that as well. Like people are extremely high on Brayden Burries, and I get it too.
Because
I just
he's so
trying to
smart.
hold my optimism for right now.
Because he's so smart. He doesn't make a ton of mistakes. How long has it been since we had a guard who wasn't turning the ball over every five? How long has it been since we had a quarterback who wasn't throwing 3 interceptions a game? Yes, you could
Right.
throw the touchdowns. We like it. But you're throwing so many dead going. This dude is coming in, and he's Aaron Rodgers when it comes to that. He's
Yeah.
getting what he needs to get without giving the ball to the opponent. What
Opponent.
does that do for your defense, right? The defense has to keep taking the ball out of the net versus taking the ball off the backboard or for steals.
Talking.
That helps
Man,
you
get the
set your
lights up. Dr.
defense up.
Smith been cooking. Get the lights up.
You
Go
see
ahead,
what I'm
Dr.
saying?
Smith.
So it's
Right.
it's it's you have all of that. We haven't even gone into Kasparis Yakachonis and what he can give you with his IQ, right? You know what I mean? Because we've just loaded that guard room. We still have Nate Ament who started to show like the potential that he has. Oh, by the way, we still have Usman Jang. Oh, by the way, we still have when it comes to holdovers and whatnot. If we're talking about what a new coach could do with some of the older talent that we got, Jericho Sims is not going to be someone that can create his own offense. We know what his weaknesses are, but
Correct.
put him defensively in the hands of Taylor Jenkins. And how do you feel about Jericho Sims now? And what can he do now
He was
with that?
excelling
You
under a
have,
terrible coaching system.
you get me, right? So you look at someone like a Pete Nance who can move his feet. All of those guys that we have in the big man room are better defensively than Bobby Portis, and we had to deal with Bobby Portis all year. All due respect to Bobby Portis, right? All of
Right.
them can move their All of them can play in the post. All of them can consistently go up and get rebounds. All of them. Defensive rebound, right? But you got to give somebody up. You go out and you get yourself a Peyton Watson. I'm telling you, I know I said this last year. You get a Peyton Watson, I'm coming to Milwaukee just to watch the defense. Just to watch the defense. I want to see it in person. I don't want to wait till they come down here to New Orleans. I just to watch the defense. That defense would be worth the price of admission. I think that defense of Ryan Rollins,
Hmm.
Brayden Burries, Peyton Watson, Jericho Sims, Khalil Ware.
There you go.
I want Boston at that point. I want Boston at that point. Try to score around that. You've been getting over on us with John Horst and these goofball decisions and these little one-dimensional field goal players that we had who can't play defense. Try to get around that. Try to get around that. You have two players who can play full court defense and pressure with Burries and Rollins, and you
Facts.
have a Peyton. who can do that. You have three plus press players. You see how we could talk football all day, and you could do this with Xavier McKinney and that with
Right.
Andrew Williams. Like the, can you imagine what you could do with that defense and how difficult you can make it? You can play press. You could, yo,
Right.
I think you do it. But who do you give up?
Let's do it. Let me not hold Dr. Smith over. Hey, we gonna recoup in a couple days. I think I'm gonna try to go live either probably Saturday, maybe around that same type of time as I did today when everybody shut it down. So Dr. Smith, we gotta revisit this and hopefully B Shack can join the
Sure.
next live because I'm interested to hear what he say about Peyton Watson, but it just seems like he would instantly catapult us into playoff contention with his addition.
He's a force multiplier because it's not just him. It's not just him in a vacuum. Him in a vacuum is he's not a franchise player.
Hmm.
Him with the team though is how much you can now do with everyone else. He's the for my clothes junkies, right? He's the pair of kicks. The kicks by itself are not the outfit, but the kicks bring the outfit together. Like you can't go out side looking crazy. You know what I mean? With busted, scuffed up. You know,
Yeah,
you
right.
just looking putt like. But if you got the right kicks, it brings the outfit together. OJ Anunoby bring the Knicks together. Harper's son over in
Yeah.
San Antonio
Dylan.
brought
Mhm.
it together. Right? They're not the franchise players, but they're the not even just Harper, but they're starting two
I would
guard
say
Matt.
Alex Caruso for OKC. What about Alex Caruso for OKC?
Exactly. And I value those players, and he could be that for us. That is not to be undervalued.
Hmm.
You paid for that, but you're gonna have to bleed. That's a pound of flesh. So that is not gonna be easy. That's a homework assignment for all of y'all.
Yeah, we
Who
gonna
would
re
you
up
give
on
up?
this.
Who
Yeah,
would
let's
you
make
give
that.
up?
Let's
Because
make that. That's official. I'm gonna put that in the comment section too after this live. Who would you give up for Peyton? For Peyton Watson? I think that's a great question to propose to the community, Dr. Smith.
yeah, because it's gonna hurt. There's no deal where you can say, oh, we could give him AJ Green. Denver has to want that back. Denver's not stupid, so they're not gonna. We if you even approach them with a goofy deal, they're gonna say, all right, we're just dealing with the Clippers thing because y'all are not serious. You're unserious people. I want realness.
Right, right.
Present to me a deal. This is like my homework, right? This is like case. Present to me a deal that is going to entice me to give up a player that I don't want to give up, but I have to. And other teams also want him. So how are you going to outcompete those other teams? Because yeah, you can tell me all day and all night that he's going to bring your team together. We know it because he would bring our team together. We don't want to give him up, but we have to figure that out, right? It's not. We can't. The only real good news is Gary Trent can be traded after 3 months, apparently,
Right.
right? So he's still going to be on our books, right? The minute you could trade him, thank you, Gary. Thank you. We already know what it is. You're getting your money. Be happy you got your money. You can't be on the roster anymore. We need the spot. We can't not
Right.
give you the money. So you got the money. Go somewhere else, right? I don't even know how that works at that point,
All right,
but
Dr.
who would?
Smith.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
that's a
we
good
gonna bring this
live,
up.
man. I
Give me,
appreciate
yeah.
appreciate
I
you.
know. I think this is a really good live. So we'll go live again. I saw it should be like 4 o'clock y'all time, 3:30 or 4 p.m. So that'll be the next live too. It'll be around that same time. So y'all stay locked in. Y'all see the community. Hey, today, hey, we got it in on this live, Dr. Smith. Real talk. This is a really good live. Appreciate you tapping in. I want to chop it along, but this battery is literally about to go. So appreciate you,
And I
Dr. Smith, for
thousand pounds
tapping.
of work I
Hey,
do. I
man,
gotta
get
put
it
them out.
done. Hey, I appreciate you, Dr. Smith. Thank you. Appreciate the time, sir. Salute.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Peace.
Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Smith. This was y'all gotta get the likes up. This was a great debate and great live, y'all. What's good? Get the likes up. We putting in 2.5 hours. It's 1 a.m. where I'm at right now. Hey, man, it's still cracking. Salute to friends and family, though. This battery literally is about to go. So I appreciate y'all tapping in. Please hit the like button. Please hit that, what they be saying, the notification bell, ding, ding, hit all that because this is the best community on YouTube easily. You see the intelligence in the chat. You see the queens in the chat come in. We receive, I mean, Who's doing it better than us? I don't gotta make no excuses or do no big soliloquy about how cold we are. We the best in the business. We move the needle. It is what it is. Just pay respect to us. We do the best. We do good work over here, y'all. Comment, like, subscribe. Go on. I'm gonna see y'all in a couple days, and we gonna go live in a couple days. Go.